the Senate bill with the women's equality thing?
You're talking about SB 44?
Well, I don't know the number, but just heard it mentioned that there's some kind of women's equality thing going on in the Senate.
Yeah.
Do you know what the deal is, or?
Yeah, I can tell you it's SB 44, and I think it was Kathy Edmonston's bill. I'm not 100% sure. No, it wasn't Kathy Edmonston. But anyway, SB 44, I mean, biological women
Mhm.
are the only people who can compete against biological women.
Hmm.
Louisiana Senate in the committee. It it passed the committee unanimously.
Well, we might get some rocks thrown at the screen here pretty quick, but you know what? I would say I'd have to be against that bill.
What?
Yeah.
Are Wait a minute. Are you telling me I'm going to have to reconsider a show host here? Is that where we're heading?
Well, you might. Now, let me explain before we get too many rocks thrown at us because we've already got 20 people watching and they've carried over to the Thursday night since we skipped Tuesday night. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before everybody tunes out, let me explain. Look, you either want equality or not. So if women want to truly be equal, we just need to be out on the football field and let's compete. I mean, you can't have it both ways. Are women
So
equal or not?
so you're saying let's separate the men from the boys and the women
Who
from the
who
men, or what are they
who's
both
got
saying?
who's got the most testosterone and who doesn't?
So you're saying do away with all of the sex sports and let's just put everybody on the field and let's just see what happens.
Get after it. You know, back in the Super Bowl days when they used to have, was it the Bud Light Super Bowl with the women in the skimpy clothes and they'd play that along with the Super Bowl? Nah, stick them all out on the field. We're
I'm
just
I'm
troublemakers.
I'm not well, you're the troublemaker. I'm the cohort of the troublemaker. So does that technically make me a troublemaker too?
I think it actually probably does. Troublemaker by association. All right, so we've got 27 folks watching. Ashley Lee, hello. Mr. Tim Euler, hello to you this evening. Glad to have you all here. If you think about it, tag or share it out and let other folks have a reminder that we're on Thursday night because I was absent Tuesday night. Wade Lovelace says, let me send my resume to Duke real quick. Hello, Mike
Hey,
and Judy Dillingham.
hey, that would be a great interview. Wade, we need to get you on the show because he comes across and I mean he's on top of a lot of things and I really would like to kind of talk to that dude. I've never
Yeah,
talked to him. I'd really like to chat with that guy.
yeah, that'd be a fun interview. Very should be very entertaining and very fun, I think.
I think he's probably a lot like us. I really
I
do.
think so, probably so. And we're going to talk more about us and what other people think of us. So let's run down the list real quick, then we'll do our intro, let everybody else join in. So we're going to talk about a Cypress District takedown tonight.
Not a takedown. Are you
Yeah,
kidding
well,
me?
maybe. Takedown
Yeah.
wannabe, let's put it that way. Then we got to talk about the Bossier schools a little bit and, us troublemakers sitting over here. Then what else are we going to talk about?
For some reason, I have a mural in mind, but that's another story entitled, whatever.
Murals, bridges, Cypress District takedowns, women's equality. We're also going to talk about the Linton Road Bridge, which I was reminded we said we were going to talk about last week and we didn't, and now there's some more news the past few days. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then, drum roll, please. I don't think I have a drum roll sound effect, but anyway, I,
Now,
I we may have to apologize to Raymond Cruz.
it sure looks that way. I didn't think that was going to happen, but Krispy Kreme is. I'm thinking he's going to get an apology tonight.
Yeah, and it's related to Juliana.
Yeah, see, you went a little far there, because in the notes I had police jury person unhinged, and now everybody knows who I was talking about.
I didn't say anything about being unhinged, but I guess we'll see if one of our police jurors is unhinged and what the name of
Oh,
that police juror might be.
oh, do you remember that stupid video of that girl jumping around that was unhinged up there in Washington D.C.? Remember that? And then
Oh,
you had the guy playing the bongos.
oh yeah, there's a bunch of them that are unhinged around D.C. though, but we apparently have a bunch around here that get unhinged.
Oh, good grief. Yeah. So we're going there,
All right.
and it's going to be glorious.
Okay, so folks, we're for those of you that are new, we're fixing to do our countdown. That lets a few more people get the notifications because Facebook, it's a 10 to 12 minute average for people to see the notifications, join the show, and all that. That gives you time to also go make some popcorn, mix a stiff drink. We're going to share the show out. We will be right back. Y'all stay tuned, and we are going to dive into all this fun stuff, doing our Bossier Watch on Thursday night when we usually kind of do Louisiana Watch. So again, Identity Crisis. Here we go, the countdown. We'll be right back.
Just they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
In all honesty,
live broadcast is brought to you by Eagle Truck Center, soaring to new heights. The Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 23 years in the mortgage business. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And the many supporters, donations, and folks sharing information and watching out for Bossier. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. And here we are.
I have lost my place. I just,
Well, that's not good.
I've lost my place. Well,
Well,
you know,
you're sitting in your man cave, your fortress of solitude.
yeah, I am sitting here ready. I mean, last week, my gosh, the arrows and the barbs started flying like as soon as the show ended. I mean, bam, here they came, and it was like nonstop, and it didn't end.
I
So,
know, you like sent me a text at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Fortunately, I was fast asleep.
yeah, I know, but I couldn't believe it. It was just like nonstop, and we're going to cover that tonight. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what? I hate to say it. You weren't challenged. I was challenged,
I
and
know.
I
Well,
guess,
I was actually kind of whining and griping on the show a little bit because you were getting all these text messages, but I got to say, now I want to retract all those whines and gripes I did on the show because I was sleeping peacefully.
I mean, look, eh, if you're an elected official, doesn't it come with the territory that you get criticism. But just so you know, Rex, I don't know if you realize it or not, but we are liars,
No.
purveyors of innuendo,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I lost count of how many freaking things that we were accused of.
Well, didn't we get called troublemakers too?
Yeah, but that was by somebody else. That was another, not an elected official, but
Well, quasi
not
sort of
government.
cheerleader, but that's a whole other
I
story.
was going to say government cheese, but
Yeah, that's close enough. Well, look, folks, if we get called purveyors of innuendo and troublemaker, hey, I take that with a badge of honor any day.
yeah, no,
Let's purvey some more innuendo tonight. How about that?
these comments already, Tim Mueller. Where's your wife's hat? You're smarter with that on, Michael Duglauer.
Oh, let's see.
Michael
Oh,
Ferris invite UL Coleman.
hey, that's
I would,
interesting.
I would love to chat with UL Coleman.
That
And
would be interesting.
something tells me UL Coleman would love to chat with us, but I don't know that.
I'm not.
I don't know if the court system is going to allow him to do that.
Oh yeah, because we would have to try to take the conversation into areas that have been deemed inappropriate for the public to hear. Public matters that the public can't hear. Gotta love our
Yeah.
court system.
Yeah. And hey, going back to Wade Lovelace, Shreveport's got this little thing going on over there going to be called a mayor's race, I think, coming up in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And Wade Lovelace, I think there might be a role for Bossier Watch in your mayor's race. We need to get together and talk about that a little bit. I think there's an idea starting to happen on that.
Yeah, and there's been some interesting tidings over there as well. I'm sure any of you that watch Keel have seen it or watched the news or watched the Caddo Republican Peck over there. Some interesting things going on, but we'll probably save that for another show because we got a lot to talk about tonight. I do want to welcome and say hello to future Bossier Mayor Jeremy Gallman. So, Jeremy, as soon as you get a campaign committee going and all that, just let me know. We'll donate.
That's right. And as soon as you want to come on for an interview too, because I want to ask you about the Shed Road crossing. I want to ask you about
The
possible
UL Coleman
double-
suit.
UL Coleman, double billing, just all these different things. I got all these questions. I'm just wondering where you stand on them.
Yeah, we got to find out. All right.
Term limits,
Term limits,
that was
yes.
remember that was a big thing in the last Bossier City Council races and mayor's race. Term limits. I mean, have you, Rex, and everybody watching? I'm wondering, have y'all heard term limits come off of the lips or tongues of any elected official in Bossier City at a Bossier City Council meeting? Have you heard that?
Well, this is like, let's see, what was that show? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like the teacher, asking for Bueller the whole time. Term limits, hello.
What am I missing? So people run for office and they say they want term limits, and then you never hear them say anything about term limits again. I mean, but then we are liars and spreaders of innuendo because we criticize those politicians because they're not following through with what they say.
Well, let's make it clear for those of you that may be new to watching the show, or for those of you that may watch and have forgotten. We are what we call citizen journalists. We're absolutely amateurs. We're not trying to necessarily be fair and balanced. Now, if we have a guest on, we're generally pretty fair to the guest. We don't try to do gotcha type stuff if we have a guest on, but we're here to take the things that are going on politically, either things that are going on out front publicly or behind the scenes, and put our spin and take on it and present it to you. And you can either watch or like it or not, or comment and tell us we're wrong, but that's it. That's been it from day one.
Yeah, but Rex, we're in it for ourselves. I mean, like, look, this little show, it's paying your house note, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, folks.
It's paying your electric bill, right?
Nowhere close.
paying your phone bill, right? I mean,
Nowhere close to that. It doesn't
I
even pay
mean,
for the gas in my boat. Let's put it that way.
wait a minute. Is it paying for the coffee?
It doesn't cover the expenses. So here's a news flash for everybody. The internet's not free. Did y'all know that? Social media is not really free. Now, not to do it the right way. Yes. Now, let me clarify.
Apparently, some people that are elected to office in Bossier Parish believe that what we're doing, that we're about ourselves, that we're just making all this money. I guess it's money. I don't know, but we're doing it to promote ourselves. And I mean, I love having to watch my back and look out for people, wanting to cut me. That just fires me up, Rex. Doesn't it fire you up?
Yeah, it does. Makes my wife so proud when we go out to eat and somebody comes up and says, "Hey, aren't you Rex?" And she cringes because she doesn't know whether they're going to be like, "Man, really, really good show," or "You SOB, why'd you say that about so and so last week?"
Is there going to be a fight or what?
Yeah, it's a 50-50 shot. But in all seriousness, folks, look, I know I can certainly say I'm not ever running for any political office. The highest political office I ever have achieved is the PEC and then being appointed to the Board of Election Supervisors. Big deal. I'm not running for office. It's not where I belong. And that's absolutely not why I'm doing this show. And, so anybody that thinks that we're doing this for us, yeah, we're out there publicly every week or whatever, but and sometimes more than once a week. But the problem is nobody else will talk about this stuff. Nobody else. You're not hearing any of this. Look, Robert and Aaron have a great show on Keel in the morning and all that kind of good stuff. And there's a few other podcasts and all that. But nobody else is talking about what we talk about. Everybody else is generally sticking to the mainstream stuff. And so that's why people come here to watch this show, and we're going to keep doing it. And if it pisses people off, oh well, don't care.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah. I don't say anything on this show that I wouldn't put on a billboard because, well, we're doing this live and very publicly, too.
But Rex, also a public official accused us of we're talking behind people's back. Now wrap your head around that right now. Everybody watching, to the 80 plus people watching, you're looking at us live right now, and we're talking behind people's back.
Yeah.
Now,
y'all don't tell anybody, but we're going to talk about the Cypress District tonight. We're going to talk about the Bossier school system. Oh, and certainly don't tell anybody. We're going to talk about Raymond Cruz and Juliana Parks. And we might even mention a couple of girls named Allie. Maybe. But don't tell anybody else.
Yeah, because we're talking behind people's back, and we got to keep it hid. That's how we are. We're sneaky. This is undercover stuff here.
We're on show 97 of Bossier Watch, plus add in some Louisiana Watch shows. Every show is published publicly. You really don't have to have a Facebook account to watch the show. I mean, Facebook really encourages you to make an account, but you don't have to. And we stream to YouTube completely publicly, so you don't have to have an account to watch us live there. As a matter of fact, a lot of folks watch us, but they don't want to admit that they watch us.
So, Rex, moving along with the show, because folks are probably getting tired of us gibbering and jabbering on or whatever. But look, we're going to start off, and if you're an old watcher of our show, you'll know that we have watched the happenings of the Cypress District, and we've reported on it for a long time. And because there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, and you say, the majority of you in Bossier, you're saying, why does that matter? Or what does that matter to me? And look, we're not going to harp on it, but I'm just going to say, because the majority of everybody in this parish, you're paying taxes on this. This is your money. This is your thing.
Yeah, we've said it ad nauseum, but just for the summary version, for the folks in the back listening, 60, I forget what it is exactly, but it's 60-something out of the 80-something precincts in the parish of Bossier pay millage to the Cypress District. And that includes most of the businesses in the city. So even if you're not paying a millage on your home or property or whatever, you're by extension paying it because the stores and vendors and retailers and all that, every business here in town, or almost every business, is paying a millage to those guys. It literally belongs to pretty much the whole parish. And it's public property anyway, so technically it belongs to everybody. So it is important.
So to all of you little people out there, or in some people's terms, the less desirable folks, in which if y'all are watching and you're not an elected official, that makes you a less desirable folks. That's you, the taxpayers. That's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So what exactly, Rex, is going on with the Cypress District? I know last week we showed this little short video of an interview we did with Renee Hall.
Correct.
And so there's been some movement around that.
Oh, yeah.
So what's going on?
Well, and the Cypress District is a good microcosm of the bigger picture with what we've said over and over, and everybody in Bossier talks about the Good Old Boys Network. And that's why we harp on it so much because, well, anyway, so moving forward, yeah, we did we played about a 2-minute segment last week of an interview that I did with Renee Hall, her and her husband, David Hall. A lot of you folks may know them. Anyway, I met them through the Friends of Cypress Black Bayou group and all that. Renee called me and said, look, I want to get my story out because I'm not really being heard. And so I went up, set up the camera, and she rattled off, her part of the story. And so I did a 2-minute teaser of it. And really, she didn't say anything that she hasn't said. As a matter of fact, I got some video clips I'm going to cue up here in a second that she hasn't said at public meetings at the Cypress District before. She said it in front of the police jury. She said it in front of the Benton Town Council. Same basic things, but the Ayers law firm apparently got upset and got their panties and Hanes briefs and boxers in a wad over it.
Anything that we haven't already covered on the Cypress District before?
We've covered way more, but oh no. So from what Renee and David did call me, and they asked me or us to take the video down. Well, the problem is it's already public. The barn's already, the horse is already out of the barn. And to do that, I would have to delete that entire show, which removes the comments, removes the stats from it and all that. And she didn't say anything out of line. And besides that, as I understood it in my conversation with them, the attorneys had discussed it on both sides, along with the judge in the case, who was Judge Mike Nairn. And he had requested that Renee remove it from her social media. Well, as far as I know, Renee didn't post it. I don't even know if she shared our show out or anything like that. So obviously she can't remove it. Now, in all fairness, I did tease out that we were going to broadcast the longer interview once I had completely edited it. But I did agree to not put that out until either their lawsuit was resolved or till they gave me the green light via the attorneys not to broadcast the whole thing. But the point of that is that it just shows you again the Ayers law firm, who is the law firm paid for by our tax dollars. They're Caddo Parish lawyers paid for by our Bossier Parish tax dollars for the Cypress District. They are definitely sue happy. They just try to kind of, like everybody else has said, abuse their power. They like to pick on women. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Are you telling me they make a, discernment? I mean, have they not understood? This is, the woke, society today. I mean, men can play as women, women can play as men. I mean, what am I missing here?
Well, yeah, you're right. This whole pronoun thing. So let me cue up this video. Hold on just a second. We may hear video play. No, we didn't. Okay, good. So let me get this video queued up. And I want to show you this. And we've played this before. Okay, so this is, again, not anything that I hadn't already played. But I'm going to hit play here in just a second. So this was a 2019 Cypress District budget meeting. This is Curtis Shelton, as in the name Shelton in the Ayers, Shelton, whatever else it is, law firm. And I want you to hear the way he is speaking to the taxpayers as a representative of the Cypress District in this meeting. I want you to listen to this for a second. So let me get this published here. Here we go.
It's a lawsuit made by one of the landowners out here on the lake, right? So
Now I want to pause there for a second because here's something else interesting to note. In this video right here, Curtis Shelton himself is talking about the Halls lawsuit. Yet they don't want the Halls to be able to talk publicly about their lawsuit. He's literally talking about it right here.
Now, he just said a lawsuit by the landowners who live out here on the lake. Is he talking about me?
Well,
Am I one of them?
you
Am I one of them people?
you live on one of the two lakes. You live over in Black Bayou. That's you.
Because last I checked, I didn't get a say in whether or not they could or couldn't file a lawsuit. Last I checked, all the members that are appointed to that board they're not elected.
No, they're appointed bureaucrats, as I like to call them. All right,
And-
let me hit
there's
play.
no
Let's
All right,
continue
good.
on. Here we go.
the landowners is costing the district money, all right? That lawsuit today, down in Baton Rouge, their lawsuit against the state has been dismissed. It's gonna end up back up here. It's another frivolous lawsuit. You know, we all have problems with frivolous lawsuits. So that's really a question, it's not a comment, but I'll tell you, that lawsuit's been going on for years because you have one of the landowners out here trying to take property from the
So we're
district, which
gonna
is
have to
public
pay for
property.
that landowner.
You don't pay for it, the district pays for it.
Listen to him.
Okay, so it's not the
You haven't gotten a bill for that lawsuit at your
But I
house.
just heard it was building, and so I will never have to pay more. And one more thing that.
I don't know what you mean by I'll never have to pay for it. You have to pay whatever fees and taxes, et cetera, that you pay, man.
But it won't be included, the lawyer fees won't be included on our landowner taxes.
You don't have a line item on landowner fees for lawsuits.
You
You don't.
we don't pay the district, but I have one more question. If-
No, there's no more questions, ma'am. If you'd like to make a comment, you've had your chance to make a comment. You're asking questions. I said, this is not a question and answer time. I don't know what y'all cannot answer. Ask and understand about that. And no, you
All right, now he's pointing right here to Renee Hall. Okay, so here we
don't
go.
have a question, ma'am. We're not answering questions.
You don't run this. This is run by the board. I'm
That's
addressing the
correct.
president.
Renee, do you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Walt. I appreciate it.
Okay, so that was Walt Bigby, who was president of the Cypress District then, and to his credit, he allowed Renee to speak. But that's literally one of the partners in the Ayers law firm who doesn't want Renee Hall or really anybody else to be able to speak about what's going on at the Cypress District or lawsuits, but he can get up there and bloviate all he wants.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, look, and in full disclosure, Renee and David and our friends, we met through the Cypress District. Now, that doesn't mean we go out to eat dinner together or anything like that, but we're friends through the Cypress District and the ongoings there. Ashley Bullock, you're correct. He is an ass, a complete ass. But anyway, so it's this double standard and this hypocrisy, and that's what drives me nuts about this. So we've agreed to abide by not publishing the entire interview. We've got plenty of First Amendment rights to do it because this wasn't a gotcha interview at all. But we haven't received any official notice from Ayers and them or from the judge, but we've agreed, in good faith to not publish the entire interview yet. But the other one's live. That horse is out of the barn, and it's staying up. And we encourage you to go back to last week, which was show 96, and listen to it.
Now, why would anybody want to not be transparent? Why would they not want, things out there in the public?
Well, because it makes them let me start over. It makes them look like I'll just classify most of them idiots that they are. You know me, I don't really hold back that much, and in that situation, it just gets my blood pressure going. As a matter of fact, I've got a couple of these other deals queued up, but we've played them before. I'm not going to go ahead and play them tonight, but the police jury has been addressed by this. As a matter of fact, that's when Patrick Jackson made his famous quote, "We're going to see if the Attorney General is correct," and blah, blah, blah.
No, somebody I know always uses the term government overlords, or isn't that correct?
Benevolent overlords.
Benevolent overlords. Well, so are you telling me that the Cypress District, could care less about what all of these pissy-ante landowners and taxpayers what they think, and they don't want to hear their side of the story?
Well, they don't want to hear their side of the story, no. And of course, the Ayers law firm, look, they're just doing what, no offense to any of the lawyers watching, but they're just doing what lawyers do, which is drumming up more business. I mean, heck, Alex, one of their lawyers, was it the police jury meeting? One of them, no, it was the city council meeting. She was like literally trying to drum up business while she was addressing, I think it was the city council. I'd have to go back and dig through the notes. So, look, Caddo Parish Law Firm, they're up there making $150,000 to $200,000 a year from the Cypress District, which is tax dollars combined with the lake property owner fees that y'all have to pay. So they're doing what lawyers do. It's the district board itself and the police jury, the Benton Town Council. They've all been warned. We've laid out stuff in front of them, directly in front of their noses. Here's what's going on. Robert Berry's been in the news plenty of times. We've talked about him plenty here. And yet they all ignore it. It's just like, I don't, it's the good old boy network at its finest, or at its worst, one of the two.
I am trying to share a photo that was sent to me, but I am having some difficulty in getting it pulled up.
If you need to, text it and I'll drag it in the show or whatever.
I may do that because it's relevant to the subject matter that we are discussing at this time, but I'm having technical difficulties myself. So, what specifically is the deal for everybody watching? What exactly was the deal?
You're talking about, you asking the folks watching, or you asking me what?
No, I'm asking you about, the deal that, why would they want to shut down that little short clip that we showed? I mean, what's that about?
Well, I guess from their legal standpoint, and of course I wasn't there in whatever hearing or however they, do this in the court system or whatever, so I wasn't there. So I'm only, doing the whole innuendo and speculation thing and being a troublemaker. But I guess, they didn't want Renee to influence the court. But I don't think this is going to be a jury trial or anything like that. I think it's like going to be in front of the judge. So, I mean, is that the judge saying that he might accidentally watch that and be influenced? I really don't understand the point.
I don't either. I mean, because it's not like anything is a secret here. I mean, it's not like we haven't already talked about the fact that, we're talking about 30 feet or however many feet of property that supposedly they built over the line, and there's an email showing that it was okay.
Yeah, there was. So the basic controversy is, and look, folks, the lawsuit's posted at the clerk of court, so you can log into that and go check it out. I think we showed pieces of it a couple of shows ago or something like that. But yeah, the whole thing is, let me see if I can find that email because I've lost track of my cuts here. Let's see which one. Cut 8. Okay, so
cut 8.
Yeah, so let me get switched over here to the screens. Hold on a second. Let me get this out of the way. Let me drag this over here. And this is not the easiest thing to read, but there it is. So this is an email chain between Robert Berry, the executive director, and one of the appointed bureaucrats over there as a commissioner. And basically it's an email exchange with the city of Bossier and whoever else about the land swap. And as I understand it, and from listening to Renee when she was doing her interview video, again, I'm not going to reveal anything that's not already published in the court documents. But apparently there was some sort of land swap because they were going to build their deck or pergola or whatever, and it was actually going to go over into the district's easement slightly, and so they were going to trade some of their land for encroaching on the district's land and just do a land swap, all right. And so however that works legally, but you can see here in this email exchange, I know it's kind of hard to see, but in about the middle of it, Robert said he needs to see the plans first, And then Carlotta Brown from the city of Bossier replies back, said Mrs. Martin dropped off revised plans. I'm not sure who Mrs. Martin is in this, but anyway, she dropped off the plans for 482 Merritt Road. What's the status of these plans with your office? Talking to Robert Berry. Robert Berry, you can see right there on Wednesday, July the 13th of 2016, replies, the board is okay with it. I mean,
But even though he emailed him and said, "Hey, it's okay," apparently it was not okay after the horses done left the building.
yeah, and well, I think that it wasn't okay because fast forward a couple of years and the Halls, along with many other property owners at the lake and other people too, have really scrutinize the Cypress District and what they're doing out there, and some of the things that taxpayers don't agree with and property owners who are paying the fees don't agree with, and they've come under a lot of scrutiny with that. And again, it's like I said earlier in the show, apparently they have a problem picking on women, and apparently they're picking on Renee. Now, of course, granted, her husband David's in the lawsuit too, but it just seems like they really don't like Renee. And so they're trying to make an example, and looks to me like they're going back on their word. Again, that's my take on it.
So did I understand you correctly that did I hear that correctly that there's other people that have built across the line, and how did the Cypress District do? Did they lawyer up and sue the people?
Well, funny you should ask that, Duke, because the past 4, 5, 6 years, they like to lawyer up and sue people, but I just so happen to have a copy of a lease. Again, this is filed and recorded at the, Bossier Parish Courthouse. You can sign into the clerk of court's deal, pay the fee, and pull these up or go up there and view them. But anyway, this is a lease agreement between the Cypress District and Hank and his wife Moore. This is back in 2016. It looks like I've got it highlighted there. And I'm not going to read through all the, recitals and all that, but let me move over to the next page of it. And you will see here, I've got it highlighted in red. It is the policy of the district that adjacent property owners may have the right to lease the area between the in-fee line and the pool stage contour line, provided all rules, regulations, fees, restrictions, reservation, blah, 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 are agreed to by the owner in writing. So they can do a lease agreement with permission from the Cypress District, and the Cypress District, by statute, does have the legal authority to do this type of stuff. And it says, whereas a permit was issued to Melissa Moore by the district on September 27, 2011 for the construction of a storage building, and the leasee constructed a storage building which then encroached upon the district's property and upon the flowage easement. So in other words, apparently they built a storage building, and it was approved, but they built it a little bigger or whatever happened, and it actually went into the district's property, which is, it varies somewhat depending on how your property lays and all that, I guess. But anyway, it's basically up the bank about 100 feet for the most part. All right. And apparently it encroached in that. And then you see down here this last red highlight where it's set forth in the official policy and regulations by the Cypress District dated November 30th, 2010, and they probably updated those since then. But private lot owners owning or having acquired leases on property adjacent to the in-fee line may be issued leases on the area down to the water level upon payment of fees provided for such private lot owners that they follow the rules, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, the district has and can work out a property swap, a lease with people. As a matter of fact, here's the rent. They rented it to the Moores for $250. Now, apparently, if you go look on Google Maps, you can see this property, and based on what you see from Google Maps, it's much more substantial than what the Halls are doing, and maybe less than what other people have done and receive these leases, or they just let them do it and let it slide.
Well,
and so, anyway, the point is here, they're being selective in how they do this. Very selective.
Well, it makes me wonder how they determine, how they agree to leases. I mean, it almost seems selective. I mean,
Yeah. Very
Look,
much so.
I like Mr. Moore. I mean, and I think, fine person or what
Yeah,
have you.
right.
But he's been around a while. It's an old family name. They're good people. I mean, what's the difference in the situation that happened right there and the situation that's happened with the Halls?
Yeah, look, this is no slight against the Moors and being able to lease property. That's fine and dandy. That's the whole point. That's the way it should be if there is a viable exchange of either money or property or whatever with the Cypress District. As a matter of fact, Shannon Thornhill Brown, who's watching the show, and I see your comments there, Shannon, thanks. She kind of went through a similar thing. We've talked about that before on the show with her. She was representing her dad in a kind of a somewhat similar deal, and she finally had to get it out of the good old boy network to win, so she won on appeal, and I think it went all the way to the state Supreme Court, and I think for all intents and purposes in legal speak, she won there. So once she got it out of the good old boy network, it prevailed.
Careful, we don't want to offend anybody's friends. We don't want to offend anybody's friends in Bossier, okay?
Yeah, right. Hey, look, we're non-discriminatory on this show. We don't discriminate on who we're trying to not offend.
I mean, look, for them Cypress District folks that are like all tuned in, I mean, look, I know you're not ever going to give me a 99-year lease. I mean, I know that. I'm not in.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Those sweetheart leases for certain police juror members, and that's a whole other thing. But anyway, I wanted to point out right here one last thing, and then we'll move on. Here's the signature for that lease agreement, and it's signed by none other than Jerry Fowler and Walt Bigby.
How about that?
And Robert Berry himself.
Guys, why could y'all not have done this with the Halls rather than, try to bankrupt them? I mean,
well, they're vindictive. As a matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me cue up another video here. Let me find this.
I'm just wondering, how is it? How many folks watching? How many of you have been to the boat launch on the north end of Cypress Lake recently? Like within the last month?
I drove by there.
You drove by? Well, if you pulled in the parking lot, you would have seen these huge potholes. And you know what? Again, the Cypress District sued somebody over that because they parked a trailer house in there. They got the money almost a year ago, and they fixed the potholes. They got the money, so I'm wondering where the money went.
Well, and it was an insurance deal. I was at the meeting or at one of the meetings where they were discussing that, and I didn't have time to go pull it up. But yeah, they were.
Oh, wait a minute.
That should have been fixed a long time ago.
Is that innuendo?
I don't know if that's innuendo so much as just being maybe almost blunt about it. Let me pull up a picture of the potholes. Hold on here.
Well, I don't want to be outdone with that, so I'm going to go a step further, and I'm just going to straight up lie. The grass needs cutting up there right now, so if y'all get in your car and you drive up there right now and the grass is real high, I mean, it's us lying. We're lying and spreading innuendo that the grass is high and needs to be cut up there right now.
Well, and not just that, we're lying about this picture of the potholes that did you take that picture, Duke, yourself?
No, somebody sent that to us.
All right. So we're lying about those potholes. I don't know. Jeremy, you fish a lot. Have you been up to the 162 ramp at Cypress lately? Are those potholes still there, or are we just imagining these? Or is somebody else lying when they send it to us, and so by extension we're lying? Chris K says, can you fish in the potholes? I'm not even going to answer that. Look at them yourself. You could probably at least catfish in those things, Chris K. So, yeah, good point.
Well, moving right along, I mean, I think we've maybe we'll get the grass mowed up there, and maybe they'll find, for the surfs in Bossier, they'll find the heart to spend the money to fill the potholes that they leached out of the insurance company or the trailer house moving company that, is said to have caused that damage. They probably did, but at least fix it. You know?
At least fix it. Do something with it. I mean, it's taxpayer money and insurance money, and, well, in the court of public opinion, which is always very important, by the way, you need to fix that. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. And let's see what's coming up next. And I'm gonna switch our screens back to us here. So if you want to kind of lead us into this, I'm gonna scroll back through some of the comments and try to catch up on that a little bit.
I don't know if you see my share screen or not. Does that pop up?
It is not popping up tonight for some reason. There is an issue.
Yeah, there is definitely an issue. All right, Uncle, I can't do it.
All right.
So
Do you have a picture we need to share?
I am going to drop it over to you real quick, and we'll go back there. So Bossier Schools is next on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
There, you should have it.
All right. Got it.
The Bossier Schools, they've got this renewal coming up. Did you remember that?
Yeah, and we've actually talked about it before. Now so, and I think this time they're not trying to do a 40% increase this time.
No,
right?
no. I don't think it's nothing over the top. I mean, we kind of went down this road a little bit and we dug into it. And but I got to tell you, there are some rumors out there. There's some innuendo, and all we do is lie on this show. So, I mean, what better subject for us to talk about than lies and innuendo? I mean, I love it. Look,
it's just fun to say that, much less actually do it. So
it is. It gets me all giddy. I mean, I don't know. So, we haven't opposed the renewals. I mean, arguably, I think that the school system has done a pretty good job in getting out there and trying to answer questions. They haven't been hiding on it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to, put us in the time machine and go back to 2019. That was a whole different situation. I think that they've been a little more, I hate to use the word transparent, but they've been almost transparent about this and stressing the fact that this is a renewal of the existing millages. They've been very clear. And of course, if you go read what's on the ballot, they're not trying to raise the existing millages. They just want to be able to continue on with what they're currently receiving. And I don't remember all the total millages off the top of my head tonight. But anyway, so you and I haven't really been... I guess we hadn't been opposed to it,
No, we haven't. I mean, and look, Dennis Bamberg came on here and he articulated the case well. And I mean, look, he was taking some hits. He was taking some licks on that show. I mean, and now a lot of it was based on the Bossier Parish School Board's position. And we bashed them a little bit about, the COVID mandates and the masks and all that stuff. I mean, could they have all acted and been proactive on that? Yeah, they absolutely could. I mean, I disagree with them on all that and what they did. Totally disagree with them on all that. But do you and is there some arguments to be made on these renewals that hey, maybe we need to take the taxpayers in consideration? When do they get a break? I mean, will more money be generated than's needed? And if so, could you maybe decrease it a little bit? There's an argument to be made there. But overall, they've been out front, about it.
Well, I think they probably learned their lesson from the last time, because there were some troublemakers then, including yours truly, that helped put a stop to that. 3-1, by the way.
I don't care if the 6-figure cheerleader calls us troublemakers. I don't care. That doesn't matter. But
well, she didn't really get big time mad until literally I ran the math and started publicizing it at 40% because, well, that's what the simple math was. If you ever attended any math class in any high school or junior high for that matter, and then when we started publishing the salaries. That's when some of the cheerleaders got big time mad.
Yeah, but Rex, don't you know you're a minority? You think you're the majority, but don't you know you're the minority?
No, I didn't know that, dude.
That's another off the cuff slap.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell you about that one here a little later.
Yes, I haven't heard that one, so let me get another stiff drink here.
Yeah, rumors and innuendo. Back to rumors and innuendo, because that's what we're good at, right? Apparently.
Yeah.
So we got an email here recently, and you may remember this when it kind of came across, our anonymous innuendo line. And, it talked about how somebody said that the board was
Hmm.
fixing to get $175,000, you know, pay raise or pay. And I
Hmm.
know you collectively kind of laughed at it, and I kind of
Hmm.
laughed at it, but it made me
Right.
think. Said, well, maybe how rumors go around and just clear the air. So maybe somebody is in line to get them a pay raise, and they're going to be at about $175,000 or something like that. So, you know what? We'll send a message to a board member, and we'll ask them, say, hey, is any board member or anybody that you know of going to be getting a raise as a result of these renewals to $175,000?
Hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got a response back from that board, and it was actually pretty entertaining. Here's what they said. They said they had heard that the board members made $200,000 a year, and they hated that they took a $25,000 pay decrease, and they're wondering why any board member would go unopposed ever in running for the school board. And
Hmm.
then they said, and then they got serious, and they said, as
Right.
far as they knew, there's not any raises to any employees, and we as a board haven't approved anything.
Hmm. Well, now let's be clear. In the last couple of years, the teachers have received, and I'm sure we'll get some daggers thrown for me making this statement, but they have received some pay increases, not what they wanted or what they were promised by the school board back then. So they have received some. I would argue in many cases it's not enough. But again, let me just say this. Back in the whole 2019 deal, when they were literally trying to raise the millages 40%, we just did a information request and pulled all the salaries for all the teachers and all the school board members. And our argument then was they were pretty top heavy, hence the six-figure cheerleader reference. Innuendo, excuse me. Being the troublemaker that I am. So it's kind of interesting, I think I hadn't asked for their salaries since then to do a comparison to see, what it was back then versus what it is now and what the actual increases may or may not have been. But all
We
that information is public. We had it published for a while. Well, we didn't publish all of it, but that's another
we,
story.
we ought to ask and look, since we're troublemakers. I mean, we got to uphold our reputation.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, of the everybody watching. I'm wondering, what do y'all think? Do y'all think, let's just say, if there were extreme budget cuts in Bossier, who do you think would get cut first? Do you think athletics would get rolled back, or do you think teacher pay or quantity of teachers and the student teacher ratio would increase? Which do you think would happen? Then which would you say should happen? Now, talk about, that's going to put everybody watching. That's going to put you all in a rock and a hard place, because boy, you're going to give up your sports and
Yeah.
go for education, or you're going to give up education and keep your sports. I'm just curious. What does everybody think? What's your position on it?
Hmm.
If those were your choices, which would you choose?
Yeah, very interesting. And again, like we said earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong as far as your stance, Duke, but neither one of us are really opposed to the continuation of the existing millages. Now, does that mean that I think, based on my past experience with the school board, that they couldn't do some cuts and that they're top heavy? Absolutely they are. But as far as right now, they need to continue on. They're doing a good job. It wasn't the massive carnage that the six-figure cheerleader predicted back then of a mass teacher exodus and all that. They didn't go on strike. That poor lady, I had that video queued up. I guess I should run it. But that poor lady from the teachers union deal, I thought she was going to have an aneurysm or a stroke on the interview after Channel 3 mentioned, the 40% deal. She almost went ballistic. But anyway, so I digress. So we're not really here to oppose necessarily the millage renewal this time. We're just here to point out, since certain people who make six figures want to call us
Well,
troublemakers. We're here to make trouble. Just a little bit, though.
well, and this is just my personal opinion, but my personal opinion is, and it goes back to, the attempt to raise taxes the last time around, and it didn't have a priority on teachers. Teachers were not the priority. If teachers were the priority, they would have saw enough of an increase that they could have actually measured it. It would, and as I recall, the bottom line on that was teachers weren't really going to get anything out of it. It was going to be a wash for them. It wasn't
Pretty,
significant enough.
yeah,
And
pretty much.
I, in my opinion, go back to that teachers are not the priority in Bossier Parish. Other things are the priority. Why is it that the superintendent always has to be a coach in Bossier? Why is that?
That's a good
Anybody out
question.
there can answer that? I want to know, why can you not get a superintendent for Bossier Parish Schools that is not a coach? Why does it have to be a coach?
Interesting. Maybe
See,
I should reach out to Adam Bass, my school board member, and ask him directly. We need to get Adam on the show one night.
I mean,
We'll
it sure
discuss.
seems that way. It seems like, if you're just straight up education, you ain't about athletics, that you're not in consideration. I'm just the way it seems.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and then there's the whole LHSAA deal. I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, we're not getting into that. And how much the schools have to pay them, and they're a private organization with no competition, literally. The
Hey,
501c3, I think. But anyway, that's a whole other topic.
hey, now, look, they're taking this thing so serious, this renewal. They're back to using the apps, like the school apps, like, the
Ooh,
kids.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
Cut
got
51.
we got a picture of that somewhere. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. So
They're,
hold on, let me switch
they're,
screens. Let's get rid of the
we,
pothole.
we got a report that they're using the apps to promote the, the renewal again.
Yeah, and according to this report, so it's a little bit of innuendo, not necessarily based in 100% fact, for those of you that really care. But according to the person that sent this in through an anonymous Proton Mail account, this was actually like in the Benton Middle School app of all things that I guess the students have access to. I don't know, and you would think, why would they be promoting that to the middle school kids? But there it is. So, folks, what do y'all think? Should the school board be promoting this internally? I mean, they've got the six-figure cheerleader. She does that literally anyway, but should they be promoting this in the app? What about the middle schoolers? I'm not saying it's wrong necessarily. It just seems a little odd. Like maybe they could
Now,
have a better use
yeah,
of
now,
resources.
now I'm pretty sure historically in previous attempts to get millages passed, and I specifically remember the one where they, reined in the Bossier Chamber of Commerce and was going all down that road. I want to say that they got an attorney general's opinion that said that they actually could do this, could use, the public resource. I'm not saying right or wrong,
Right.
but I am saying they supposedly got an attorney general's opinion, as I understand it, that says it's legal for them to do this. So I'm wondering, where does the line get drawn on where tax dollar resources can be used to support or oppose, tax initiatives? Where does that line? I don't know. I haven't seen the attorney general's opinion.
Well,
So
it's like I always say, the court of legal opinion is one thing, the court of public opinion is the other. So it may be perfectly legal, especially if they have an AG opinion. Those are quasi-legally binding, I guess, for lack of a better term. But whether they should do it or not is a whole different ball game. I mean, I don't know, But they're making sure to say 0 tax rate increase this time. I wish they would put in there not 40%.
well, I personally, I don't think that they should be using, resources for the education of the kids. I don't know that they should be using it to promote, tax renewals and stuff. But, a good question would be is if this is okay, shouldn't it be okay for firemen and policemen to be able to be in uniform to pass their renewals? Shouldn't they be able to use, you know, pictures and assets of the fire department or police department to pass their renewals too?
Well, my argument, of course, is a resounding yes on that. You know where I stand on that.
Well, no, look, we all support fire, police, and military or whatever, but I mean, where does the line get drawn?
It gets drawn with that part in the Constitution about freedom of speech. You know, it's like right up there at the very top.
Well, here they come. We've already triggered some.
Ding, 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 ding. All right. Well, while you're processing those, I do want to address one thing. Chris K said, didn't the LHSAA start that process today? Again, I'm not going too far down this rabbit hole, but sort of, Chris K. My problem is, without getting too far, the LHSAA is a private organization. It's a 501c3, but it's not some state deal. I mean, they're literally, the schools are under paid contract with the LHSAA. They're just the only game in town. They have zero competition, and they're all about the money. So, matter of fact, I'll get into that more when I start my fishing live show as well, and I may invite Chris K on and some other folks, and we'll talk about and discuss that issue on the fishing side. We'll get Jeremy. Yes, Jeremy, it is a money grab. I'll get Jeremy on as future mayor, and we'll talk about the fishing side with the high school kids and the junior kids with the LHSAA. Did you know one thing about that? Let me do one thing. So I'm going to throw this out to everybody. One of the biggest problems I have is, did you know that under LHSAA rules, if you have a high schooler that goes out and he plays any LHSAA sanctioned sport, he can't even go out and play cornhole and win a $5 cornhole tournament and win money, $5. Because if it gets reported to the LHSAA, they will take action on it. Literally for, was it cornhole or ping pong? I got to go back and find my phone call with those jackwagons, and now I'm using your word. And that presents a challenge because, look, a lot of these high school kids go out and fish tournaments with their dads, money tournaments, and they sit there and post pictures with these nice checks. But that's a no-no, folks. And that's not even under the LHSAA purview.
Do you think, how long has cornhole been a game? How long?
I don't know, but it's a big deal now.
Well,
I don't even know all the rules. I've played it a little bit. I have no idea on it. I can't even keep scoring it hardly.
Do you think the guy that started the game cornhole watched Beavis and Butthead? Do you? I'm just curious. Do you think they did?
Probably so. Shane Cheatham. I challenge you to a corn. Now, I literally just said I really don't even know how to play score. I've played it some, but I can't even keep score. And he's one. That's it. I'm going to practice cornhole.
You know what? That explains a lot. I know Shane Cheatham watched Beavis and Butthead. I'm convinced now. Hey, I did get a message, anonymous message here, and it said, regarding the coaches thing, it said, good coaches make good leaders. Careful what you wish for. You could end up with a liberal curriculum person as the superintendent.
That's a good point.
Or you could end up with a superintendent who hires an attorney who will carry the water for a liberal governor, putting mask mandates and, all those rules on kids when it wasn't needed, and not allowing people to think for themselves. You could get that from them too. It goes both ways.
It can go either way. Hey, speaking of all that sort of back and forth and all that, am I reading this right in our notes that the Bossier Parish school system now has a zoo?
Well, more innuendo. So,
okay.
Here's some more innuendo.
Wait, let's do it this way. Full disclaimer here. This may or may not be true. How about that?
That may make some people feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, but yeah, okay, I can go with that. But and we're going to really make them happy here with this next comment that's going to come after this. So yeah, no, it got reported to us that the Bossier Parish school system was going to take over the zoo at the Cypress District.
Well, that wouldn't be difficult. If they just go out to the Cypress District, they'll be right slap dab in the middle of a zoo because it's nothing but a zoo out there, a zoo full of crazies. But you're saying the literal zoo out there, right?
Well, the literal zoo. Now, I got to tell you, there's a little bit of history there on that front,
Mm-hmm.
and there's because I've heard it, and this is before the Robert Berry, and I'm not taking up for Robert Berry and all that, but supposedly the biggest user of the zoo out there was the school system, and they wanted the education and educate kids on the outdoors and all, and that's kind of the thing, but yet the school board never contributed anything to it. Is
Well,
the understanding.
Well, here's a fun, and that's going to be interesting because here's a fun fact. Did you know that they have declared the entire Cypress Park a gun-free zone based on the fact that they're part of the Bossier Parish School Board system? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, sir. There are gun-free zone signs at the gate. They're out there at the well, now I forget the name of the building where they always have the meetings. Not the $1 million event center, but the other deal out there. Anyway, I'm having a mind blank, but yeah, there's a gun-free zone there, and their justification for the entire park being a gun-free zone and thus counter to our rights is that it's a part of the Bossier Parish School Board, literally.
Well, what I would say is that we did reach out to a board person, and they had not heard it. They didn't know anything about it,
Oh,
which, if it is accurate, it makes me wonder how they're going to pay for it and when they're going to pay for it.
well, yeah, if they're so broke, need all this money.
I wasn't going to say that. I
I
wasn't
will,
going to say,
being
I
the
don't-
troublemaker I am.
yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering, will that come from renewal monies? Is that the extra in renewal monies to be able to take? And I'm not passing judgment saying that maybe this shouldn't be the way it is, that the school shouldn't run it. I mean, because I know there's an argument to be made. They have the biggest use of it, is what is said. I don't know.
Good question. So we'll have to see if we can find out some more on that, folks. If some of y'all know anything about it, as you've heard us say a bunch of times, go set you up a Proton Mail account. Don't put any identifying information in it. Send us an email to BossierWatch@ProtonMail.com. It'll be anonymous, and we can dig into that or any other information if you know about the Bossier Parish School Board and the zoo. Or is this just one of those things that Robert Berry was rattling off in the Cypress District, and they really didn't know their rear ends from a hole in the ground?
I got to tell you, I'd get so mad looking at the TV on watching those things. I can't watch it. Watch it. I went out there to one meeting and I wanted to throw stuff. It just Lynn Road Bridge.
Yeah, let's move on to that. So I'm about to pull up the article here, the Channel 3 deal. Let's see. Let me get this set up. So go ahead.
So for those of you out there that don't have to travel up, Benton Road or Airline Drive and then go all the way to downtown Benton, if you live on the back side of the lake up here near Cypress Black Bayou Recreation Center, I mean, you've got only the benefit of enduring the traffic on Benton Road and Airline Drive. But if you did live north of it, you would also get the, increased benefit of having to drive way the heck around for longer than the engineers and all of the intellectia of the Bossier Parish Police Jury have said. And, in fact, we've got a video, one police juryman, just talking about all the, he didn't say innuendo. He should have said innuendo. That would have been just perfect if he would have said innuendo.
Yeah, it would have been.
Conspiracy
So
theories and all that crap. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that. But we will show what he did say exactly.
yeah, so let me get that queued up. It's going to take me about 15 or 20 seconds here. Let's see.
But that's probably lies as well, too.
Probably so. Let's see if I can get this. Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Hey, it's working. All right, so let's see. I need to go. What time mark was that? Around 54:15. So that's right in here.
Whoa, you jumped way ahead, huh?
Let me get into live review mode. So, all right, I'm at 54:15 right there. Is that where you want to be?
I thought we were going to show the KTBS thing because actually there were some interesting quotes in that KTBS article
Oh,
talking about the bridge.
well, sure, we can do that. Hold on. How about that?
And yeah, and if you scroll down kind of on the bottom, basically they're talking about, and somewhere in there there's a finish date, and I think they're talking about like in August now, but police
Hmm.
juryman Philip Rogers,
Yeah.
he he's got some interesting quotes in there.
Well, like this one right here. Oh, he gets lots of calls and inquiries because, well, it's in his district. Most are unhappy when they see the work crews packing up for the day at mid-afternoon. Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
and to
like it's a
quote
side.
Philip, yeah, it's like it's their side job. Adding that other contractors have told him the job should have been completed much sooner. That's funny. It's kind of like a deja vu moment. Didn't we talk about it?
We did.
And we showed some potential evidence or reasoning as to why it should be finished much sooner. We actually showed another bridge job, didn't we?
Yeah, and they didn't say. I mean, he didn't say innuendo and lies and all that stuff, but they described it, him and the parish engineer, as social media whatever. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'd hate to be
Right.
accused of some nefarious thing or another. But he also says, Roger says, this bridge has been a really big problem. Well, it didn't seem to be a big problem at this last police jury meeting that, or one of the ones you talked about it at.
Well, and remember, for those of you that are watching and tuning in about the bridge issues and all that, remember at first they blamed it on boats going under the bridge. Remember they had to put the whole buoy thing. The Cypress District didn't want to spend the money or have to enforce it, and the sheriff's department was like, "Oh no, don't look at us." And anyway, whatever all transpired there, they finally got the Cypress District to put out some buoys and according to the contractor, literally said that it was because of the folks going underneath the bridge during construction hours and construction time. So,
And then we reported as well that there were some material issues in which, again, more
yes.
innuendo, supposedly. But Rex, there is another twist to it. I mean, and maybe Philip would like to chime in at the next police jury meeting and say that it's not true since, he's on top of it. I'm wondering if all of the contractors have been paid. I'm wondering if there's any contractors that, payment for services have been being held out, and did we switch from one contractor to another and dragging one out? I,
Hmm.
I'm wondering. Maybe we can get a report on that.
Maybe
Hmm.
so. So I'm going to switch us back to us in the screen for a second while I get signed back into the chat deal or whatever, and then we'll move on from there. But yeah, there was definitely that rumor that some of the contractors were not being paid. So what is up with that?
Well, just word that I heard was from somebody in the field. They
Hmm.
told me that it's a common practice for contractors that if you kind of get through the job and you way out in front see that you're going to have some problems, you find a reason to get rid of a subcontractor and you hold out payment, so that you'll be able to get through the end of the job and get them paid. Now,
Hmm.
I ain't saying that's the case here, but what I am saying is that, we got a report that there's a subcontractor that money was being held out and not hadn't been, made right. I don't know. We're going to follow up on that and we're going to try to find out 100%, but that was what was reported to us as being the case. That's been months ago.
Yeah, that's been a while since we reported on that, and I didn't list all the shows, but I would also encourage some of our uh, uh, followers and watchers, or people that are just tuning in tonight. If you go back to show 74, which was we released on December the 14th of 2021, so last December the 14th, we report pretty extensively on the Linton Bridge, and we've done that, like you said, in other shows as well. So I was trying to go into, was it Bentontown happenings where they were? Oh yeah, here we go. Hold on, let me pull this screen up real quick, and then we'll move on. Okay, so this is the Benton Town Happenings group with about 7,400 members. It's very active, and periodically folks will do some pictures or drone shots or on the water shots. And so apparently this was yesterday, the Linton Road Bridge update. You can see there's like 66 comments on this, and people are generally not happy with it.
Yeah, not happy at all. And I suppose they're probably not happy because in that one police jury meeting when we were talking about Philip, talking about the innuendo, he didn't say innuendo, he used another word, but, talking about what the completion date was. And, they said that the completion date was going to be June 22nd and that, there's all kinds of rumors out there that, we're running out of money or this or that, but that's not true because, June 22nd, that's the date. Well, right here, they're talking about 1st August.
Let me see if I could.
So on June the 22nd of last year, or in 4 months, we've gained a month. So we're sitting here right now in April, and they're talking about a completion date right now of August. So April, May, June, July, it's 5 months. So in 5 months, they can rack up another month at least. I'm not so sure that by the time we're not done talking about this, just using simple math, that we're not going to be talking about September.
Well, there's no telling, but it also does say in the article here that, let's see, what's the fine? Stipulated damages of $3,000 a day will be assessed to the contractor. North, who's a guy from the LADOTD, said that will happen prior to the end of July.
So then, if you've got subcontractors that are not paid, and you got these heavy stipulated damages that are going to start pouring on, I'm wondering what's going to happen to this contractor. Is this contractor going to, kind of get in a bind and not be able to complete the job? Then I wonder who's going to end up footing the bill for that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to watch, and it's unfortunate for especially people, of course, like you and Kara and a lot of the folks watching that live up there and have to go around. Look, it's unfortunate for, just for us to go fish up there because, well, we got to loop all the way around, and the traffic's getting worse. And anyway, so it is still a cluster going on apparently with that bridge. I will say that in one of the comments in the Benton Town Happenings deal, people did indicate that it seems like in the last, several days or week or couple of weeks since they've changed contractors or whatever, that they're seeing more cars parked there of workers from, instead of 2 or 3 cars, now maybe a dozen or more cars a day, so that there does seem to be more activity going on. So maybe, they'll get the lead out of their rear end, so to speak, and get that bridge done.
Yeah, so are we ready to move on to the next hot topic and talking about Ray,
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme, and
Yeah.
Juliana Parks?
Well, and look, it's one of the things that I teased out in the show listing and all that for today's show was that might actually have to apologize to Mr. Krispy Kreme.
Well, I think we're going to have to set the stage, and we're going to have to explain a little bit why. If you watched last week's show, then you probably kind of already got a little bit of an idea. But what I would say is that, Rex, we triggered a lot of people. We triggered people in Bossier City, and obviously we triggered people in Benton on the police jury,
Yeah.
especially one police juryman in particular.
Yes,
I mean,
we did.
I heard the cheerleader was triggered. I heard the mayor was triggered. I heard a police juryman was triggered. I mean,
well, and to be fair to those folks, for those of you that are watching, for them, now is the time to text them and say, okay, they're about to start talking about you guys again. This is the time to do that because it is beginning right now.
Oh, wait a minute. We were told that somebody's name can't come out of my mouth.
Wait a minute, what?
Oh
Is
yeah.
somebody else trying to suppress free
After
speech?
last week's show, somebody else texted me they don't need to hear their name out of my mouth.
Is this like a Beetlejuice thing again?
An elected official. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, more censorship. I cannot believe it. An
Well-
elected official at that. I mean,
Well-
obviously, they must not understand when you're an elected official, you can talk about them.
Well, let's see. Who is? It must be. Let's try to narrow this down. Is it the person who is involved in politics on the Republican Women's Committee or whatever?
Don't know. I don't know on that one. She may be.
Was possibly, likely running campaigns on the taxpayer dime.
No,
No. Okay.
No,
I got it wrong.
we're not talking about the queen cockroach. I mean,
Okay.
But okay. So if you watch the last show, I
Yeah.
mean, in the last show we talked about Queen Cockroach, and if you don't know who Queen Cockroach is, that's Allie Feaster Smith. Allie Feaster Smith was previously Raymond Cruz's legislative assistant, and while being Raymond Cruz's legislative assistant, she got her master's degree, right?
I think it was, and good for her
Yeah.
for getting a master's degree. You know.
Yeah, she was able to accomplish that while she was a legislative assistant, and she was also able to accomplish starting a new company, a consulting company, you know, where she was able to start doing fundraising and making money. In fact, we showed in the last show I think it was a campaign finance report with a
Right.
list of, you know, all the money she's been able to do, you know, consulting on these political campaigns while a
we're-
legislative assistant, while doing the job.
We're capitalistic pigs too. We're pro free market. We're pro, free enterprise, the whole deal. So good for her on that, right? I mean, let her make the money. Yeah.
But we're lying about all that, and that's all innuendo and not true, y'all. I mean, you can't believe us. I mean, this fake stuff right there, right? Fake news.
Yeah, especially when you provide the documents, that makes it even double fake. Hey, I want to point out that, of course, we have invoked the name of Will Smith in the comments, so maybe we'll get a phone call or a guest can hear them say the famous Will Smith quote, slightly modified. Anyway, all right, so moving forward as we move out of the innuendo.
So you know, while a lot of campaigns, you know, we mentioned going over the report, a lot of different, you know, politicians and people who she's been helping or consulting or doing whatever it is she does exactly for these political campaigns while she's a legislative assistant, which is, you know, kind of a little bit taboo, but it ruffles some feathers.
Including the Attorney General, Jeff Landry himself.
That's right. I got that in the notes here later. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
But,
all right.
you know, so we got, as you said earlier in the show, we got some panties, briefs, boxers, all wadded up with some people. And
yeah, pick your pronoun, gender deal, whatever. But yeah, some people got a little upset.
Yeah. And in fact, one of her former clients, and who is a current police juryman, took exception to us publicly reporting on the connections or possible connections and all of the implications. Remember, we also talked about how there's an investigation going on of, you know, vote buying in a judge's race that took place over in Caddo Parish. And it
right.
supposedly was for a candidate who Allie Feaster Smith was consulting for, or
right.
doing whatever it is that she does.
Whatever it is that she does.
It ain't saying that Allie Feaster Smith did anything illegal, but she was associated with the campaign.
Right.
And was apparently still a legislative assistant. Now, everybody out there, y'all may all say, you know what? Those legislative assistants, they don't make much money. And it ain't much money. They don't make much money.
Right.
They should be able to run campaigns on the taxpayers' dime, or wait a minute, not on the taxpayers' dime. They should be able to run it while they're a legislative assistant and they're off time or whatever.
Yeah, nights, weekend, what's that called? Moonlighting. It's kind of like firemen that also have a lawn business. You know, as long as they don't go cut grass when they're supposed to be on the fire truck fighting a fire.
As long as they don't cross the line.
Right.
But apparently, I mean, you know, the innuendo out there is that there were lines crossed. And I don't know for a fact if there were. In fact, I was accused, or wait a minute, I wasn't accused. It was said that the rumor was that I hired a private investigator to follow her.
You did?
Now, that's what the rumor was. That's what I was told the rumor was.
Well,
Now, first off, I wouldn't piss away that much money on her, but you'll read later that apparently I care so much I would have done that, but I would not waste that much money on her. She's not worth that.
wait, is that exchange in what we're about to show here in just a second? Because I have not read all of this exchange.
No, it's not. No,
Okay,
it's not.
okay.
That was in some other stuff that
Okay.
other conversations. But what I will tell you is I had already heard that there was a private investigator. I ain't been able to confirm who did it. I hadn't been able to confirm the validity of it, but I have heard that floating around that there was a private investigator and there is evidence out there, and I ain't been able to put my eyes on it. So,
That is interesting. But for clarity's sake, it was not you that hired this alleged private investigator, right?
it was absolutely not me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well.
it was not me.
This is
So-
just like As the World Turns.
So at the end of last show,
Mm-hmm.
my phone started blowing up. And in fact, my phone started blowing up and basically said, share every word of it. So they said, one, I better not say their name, Juliana Parks. There, I said
No,
it.
you can't do that.
I just did it. I did it. I had to do it.
You've been threatened.
Yeah, you got to get the text thing up. And they said, don't say my name. My name better not come out of your mouth. Well, I just did it right there.
I can just
I did it.
I can just see her saying this in her best Will Smith impersonation from the Oscars. Anyway,
I know. I can envision
well,
that. I can
since
envision that.
you know, there's that old saying, "Be careful what you wish for, or ask and ye shall receive." So why don't we grant the wish?
Let's grant the wish. She said she wanted every word shared, and look, you know us. I mean, lies and deceit and innuendo, that's us. So Tuesday, March 29th, you know, scroll right there
Yeah,
and you'll see.
10 p.m. Starting at 10 p.m. Wow. All
Did
right,
we
so
go to 10 p.m.? We finished. What time did we finish the last show? Do you remember?
it was at nine something. I can't remember for sure. It was two and a half hours. So around 9:30ish, something like that.
All right, Juliana, we're going to share every word of it. I mean, if you want us to stop at any point, you know, by all means, but we're going to try to cover through this.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. And she's got not just one, but 3 angry emojis. 3, mind you.
Yeah, sick and tired of all your innuendos and suggestions. Keep my name out of your mouth unless you have proof of something.
That's
well, I got
awesome.
proof. You sent me this message. Juliana Parks, you sent this text thread. This was you. Call me a liar. Call me what you want. But this was our conversation as of Tuesday, March 29th at 10 p.m.
And I would also like to point out that she did also invoke your buddy Rusty. And friend of mine, too. But you've known him much, much longer than me.
He's been a good friend for a long time. He will always be a good friend, and he's always been loyal to me. And you know,
Rusty's a good guy.
He's a good guy. A lot of people don't like Rusty, but he's like, he says what he thinks. He doesn't hold back. I mean,
Very, very true.
A lot of people don't like that. I mean,
She even invoked Al Jazeera. I mean, she was just reaching for everything. This is like getting in an argument with your teenage child. They just try to, you know, you made me empty the trash the other day.
Well,
something.
you see, the interesting thing, Rex, you got to take a walk down memory lane, and a lot of folks watching the show, y'all may not remember it, but when I ran, for the legislature against Raymond Cruz and uh, the Gaddy boy, what's that Gaddy boy's name? He's probably watching, Anyway,
Robbie? Yeah, Robbie.
yeah, that's him. You see, since we carry their water, we should know that. I mean, how could we not know the names?
That's the name of the family that. Well, anyway, okay.
Yeah, we're doing their bidding. We're carrying the Gaddy's water. I mean, that's the other rumors and innuendo out there. And
Right.
anyway, so she immediately during that race, pretty much, I got hit with a lot of things. I got hit with a lawsuit. I found myself on Al Jazeera, also even on the BBC. I was getting threats from around the world. It was
Yeah, you
it
sent
was
me you
pretty
sent me some
crazy.
screenshots of it at that point in time.
It was pretty daggum crazy. And here's the thing, and if you remember in that race, Robbie Gaddy, he got the blackface, he got he got hit with a lot of stuff too. Remember that?
He absolutely
know-
did.
You know what's interesting? You know who didn't ever get hit on anything?
Who would that be? Oh, the guy that was running in the race.
It was Ray Ray.
Yeah,
And his
just rolled right off of him like water off a duck's back.
he never got nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a single thing. And Allie Feaster Smith became his legislative assistant, and look at her, she got her master's degree and a consulting gig now and rocking and rolling. But so she tries to say that I told her that Alan Seaball did all the Al Jazeera stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that's not accurate. Didn't tell her that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Am I saying that he didn't do it? Not saying that.
Well, that is
I'm
an
not-
important distinction. But now you're blaming Allie.
Well, I got to tell you, the thing is they may not like us saying this.
I don't know, but
Oh,
we got an interesting comment.
It just occurred to me, Alan Seaball may not know that Juliana Parks doesn't want Alan Seaball in Bossier Parish politics.
Wait a
He
minute.
may not know that, and he may not know that Allie Feaster doesn't like him. And are we breaking news there?
Well, it may be, but hold on. So I'll switch back to this screen in a second. Let me get us back over to this main screen. So you're telling me that Juliana Parks does not like. And look, we make fun of Alan Seaball all the time. That's Seabiscuit for those of you that watch the show. But you're telling me Juliana Parks does not like Alan Seaball, and Allie doesn't either. Allie Feaster Smith. There's more than one Allie. Doesn't either. Now, is that whisper campaign innuendo, or is that firsthand information?
Well, now I've heard myself out of Juliana that we don't need Alan Seaball in Bossier, and you know what? I think I probably could agree with that because I'm non-denominational. I think Alan's a jerk. I really do. I don't.
He
I don't
can
know
be.
that- I don't know that he's ever done anything nice to me or been right by me. I don't know that he has. I mean, and I don't know. Maybe I just don't know. The only person that I know he's loyal to all the way is Mike Johnson.
Well, and that's a fact.
But what I do know is all of these players had their hand in the cookie jar of dirty politics, back when that race took place. So for any of them to try to claim the moral high ground, it's hypocrisy at its highest.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So let's go back to this and let's finish running through this because we ain't even got to the good stuff. We ain't even got past our first comment.
Right. Okay. So let me get over here. Why am I not? Hold on a second. Acrobat. There we go. All right. So, all right. Moving. Oh well, I've got to clarify, and I think I can help Juliana out here. I guess I can say Juliana Parks' name. She asked, do you even listen to yourself? I can tell you right now, I know you listen to yourself because both of us go back through our shows periodically and we hit the play button and listen to what we said and other people commented. And so, yes, Juliana, I can verify that Duke does listen to himself. I know he plays back the show every now and then. Okay.
I know, and I'm a walking contradiction. Does that mean I walk backwards?
I don't know.
Does that
Frontwards,
mean I walk
backwards. At least
Yeah,
you don't
anyway.
walk sideways like some of our local politicians, but that's a whole other story.
How awful to do to someone what you are doing to her, reporting all the facts, concerning it. I don't think we said that she sent the, you know, possibly illegal vote buying scheme in the judge's race. No. Was she involved in the campaign? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a hand in there. And if
Did
there's
did
no
did we fill out all the campaign finance reports for her consulting company?
if there's no questions on it, then why is there an investigation going on from entities in Baton Rouge? Why
Yeah.
why is that?
We literally didn't do that. We're literally reporting on it with our spin, which is what we've done from day one. It's like the whole purpose of the show, a whole mission of Bossier Watch. But it's really sick. And did you know you should be ashamed of yourself? And how dare you call yourself a Christian? She's got to pull out the Christian religious card instantly.
Now that's an amazing thing, Rex, because you know what also happened in that race with Raymond Cruz and Gaddy? My faith was questioned.
What? No.
I was questioned in that race.
Yeah.
Now,
No, I do remember that.
I never used my faith, and in fact, whenever that was being done, I mean, it's an interesting thing that this here is coming from Juliana Parks questioning my faith, because when it was done during that race that time, there was some event, that was, I don't even remember what the event. I want to say it was at the courthouse. It was either, some faith in the country or faith event or what have you, and I didn't go to the event. Well, you know where I was, and I didn't advertise it, and I didn't make a deal about it because that's not what you're supposed to do. But you know where I was?
Where?
I was at the penal farm witnessing to inmates.
Huh.
That was where I was that day. And
Well,
then
how dare you call yourself a Christian?
I finished that day. And I literally had these people question my faith because I couldn't show up at an event,
At a
when I was
feel-good
at-
dog and pony show type event, by the way.
soliciting votes
Right.
and during a campaign, and yet I'm up there doing that. And I didn't advertise that I did that. But yet somehow or another I call myself a Christian.
But
Thank you, Juliana. You're a hero.
She must have been foaming at the mouth because she moved straight from religion into journalism. Now, I think I did read in stalking her Facebook profile, which really isn't stalking because, well, you put your own information in your Facebook profile. But I think I read, or maybe it was on the police jury site or somewhere. Anyway, but I think she did get like a degree in journalism or studied journalism as well when she was getting her law degree or something. But anyway, she says journalism 101 is you only use confidential sources in very limited situations because they are unreliable. That is all you use, and you are nothing more than a gossip rag, with vendetta. Now publish this on your stupid show.
Challenge accepted. Challenge
Yeah.
accepted. We're
Done.
publishing away. We're
All
done
right.
away. So after all of that, I had a response.
Well, but I got to address something right here. And she knows it just as well as anybody else, including her campaign consultant, Allie Feaster Smith, and literally everybody else involved in campaigns. We all know what whisper campaigns are. We all know how to create them and generate them and the damage that they can do. So get off your high horse, Juliana. We don't do whisper campaigns. We're doing this publicly. We don't go in the back meetings and have drinks and do the social thing and whisper this around. We literally do it on a live show and provide backup and documentation as much as possible. Now publish that at the next police jury meeting. All right, anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Let's go.
So as you can see there in my comments, never told you Seabiscuit did it, but since your house had a hand in coming after me during a political campaign, maybe you know something I don't. That said, it's interesting you'd question my faith, as I recall that's something else the ilk around your buddy Allie did as well during that campaign. Guess something else in common. As for how awful it is, did you ever knowingly accept her services on legislative time? That's a question.
That's a valid
Appropriate
question. Yeah.
Maybe it'll come out in the wash. Oh, and I will publish it on our stupid show. So here we are publishing it on our stupid show
Yeah.
for all the world to see.
And folks, we don't mind that she calls it a stupid show. I mean, you know, we're at nearly 100 episodes, actually over 100 episodes. We generally average 50 to 100 simultaneous viewers. We don't really publicize the show other than sharing it out. And we average 1,500 to 2,000 views or more per show, with generally within 48 to 36 hours, or 36 to 48 hours.
Now, I mean, I've got a little bit of speculation going here, Rex.
Okay.
I think she might be trying to help us.
Really? Oh, she's giving us fodder for the show. We had to have something to talk about this week.
Well,
it was a slow week.
And I mean, look, maybe we should create another weekday show and call it the Stupid Show.
It's going to be the title of the next episode, I can tell you, for next week, the Stupid Show.
Would that not get some attention? I'm telling you, I think she might be on to something. I mean, she did get something out of that journalism thing.
Yeah.
Obviously. So anyway, so here.
Well, did you know that you're a liar and you bash people for stuff that may or may not be true without any concern? I don't know who did that to you, but you turning it around and doing it to everyone else makes you no better. Bad boy.
Actually, I didn't respond to this in text because I didn't think about it, but I've had time to think about it. And she's right. Yes, I do know I'm a liar because another attorney said I was a liar in a political campaign before her. And in fact, I was labeled a liar when the city of Bossier City was conducting training that wasn't in compliance with state or national standards. They thought I knew, and they came after me to hush me up and accuse me of falsifying documents when, in fact, Sammy Halfin and the Bossier City Fire Department were conducting training that wasn't in compliance with state or national standards. Got rubber stamped in the Civil Service Board, and oh, by the way, sued the state of Louisiana for copies of all the training documents. The state of Louisiana refused it, took a judgment against them to prevent me from getting the documents, which would have exonerated me in time so that, you know, they could protect themselves. Statute of limitations ran out, and guess what? The whole training class had to be redone in Bossier City, and every training officer who was involved in it all got disciplined, with the exception of the person who started the illegal training class, Sammy Halfin, who had wrote a letter to the state to request his name be taken off the correspondence. And guess what? In a later political campaign, one sitting judge and one of her cohorts, you know, called me a liar and used it against me because the people, guys, it was y'all's people, and that was my political awakening. So I guess in some sense, thank y'all.
Oh,
in a weird sort of way.
It's kind of like in the superhero deal. Which one was it? Batman. Oh yeah, Batman and the Joker. When Joker tells Batman, "You made me first." It's kind of that situation.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Anyway, you know, it's getting late, and so my mind's not running 100%. But anyway, congratulations from Juliana on becoming what you declare to hate there, Duke. Now, you know what this seems to me? This is like, it's one of those deals like you've got a teenage kid, and the teenage kid gets in trouble. So the teenage kid tries to bring up any little thing, well, you know, that you didn't do. Well, you didn't put your dishes in the sink the other night, and wham. That's exactly. I'm surprised she wasn't stamping her feet when she texts us, and I bet at some point she wants to take her toys and go home, like she did on another Facebook post, but that's a whole other deal. All right, anyways, so moving on.
So again, she challenges us again. You know, normally I don't share I don't know that, have we ever shared a bunch of texts without, you know, but I don't think we haven't done that. But
no, but she literally demanded we publish it on our stupid show.
Yeah, she says, post all my words instead of selectively editing it. You know,
well, here we go.
Let's see if you'll be real brave, okay?
Well, hold on. So she's hit world peace. Let me scroll back up. She hit world peace. She hit journalism. She hit religion. Yeah, and here we go with the world peace. She spends every waking minute trying to make the world a better place. I just want to see a Coca-Cola commercial come in right here. While you do nothing but tear others down to try and make yourself feel better. Do you feel any better?
I'm feeling like I got a hop in my step tonight for some reason. I don't know.
Now, she tells you again, she literally demands it. Let's see if you'll be real brave and post all my words instead of selectively editing. She's
what?
She's running for another office.
I think she may be right. I think, she's onto something here. She's into building things.
Mm-hmm.
She's about building stuff. I get it. And we'll come back to that here in just a minute because, she has been into building things. She's all for building things. Mm-hmm. So I responded to that and just said, no worries, I will, including this. Did you accept Allie Feaster Smith services or AFS consulting services during legislative hours at the taxpayer's expense? Mm-hmm. So asked her again, different way.
Well, but look, you got to watch these lawyers and these politicians because she says right here, $24,000 a year for an assistant with a master's degree. What do you think those hours are? I believe this is the important part, honestly, out of all of this. She says, I believe I answered your question in my very first text this evening. Read it, which is when she mentioned the nights and weekends, and she mentioned Rusty. So let's go back and review.
She told me to ask Rusty. She said Rusty is a witness.
She's avoiding the direct answer.
Yeah, she's telling me ask Rusty. He's the witness to say what and when Allie Feaster Smith did whatever she did for her, and she didn't answer the question like you said.
So Juliana, here's the deal, and you're more than welcome to come on the show. Simply text me or Duke. I don't even know if she has my number, but text Duke. We'll gladly send you the link. You can join us right now. You can come on next week. Any politician in this town, or bureaucrat for that matter, is more than welcome to come on the show. We will be not necessarily balanced and not necessarily completely fair because we will ask tough questions, but we will give you a fair shot, so you're welcome to come on. I, as a taxpayer, think we got one heck of a deal. Who got a heck of a deal?
Well, the
$24,000 a year being a legislative assistant. Did we do an information request for the salaries of all legislative assistants?
We haven't done that,
Okay.
But, like we said on the previous show, it's our understanding that Allie Feaster Smith was the highest paid legislative assistant in the state. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but she made the most money. And
well, look, if there were a lot of projects that Raymond was able to bring back to our district and all these other sort of good things, then yeah, that would $24,000 a year.
Slow down. Look, I will acknowledge $24,000 a year for a full-time job legislative assistant. That's not much money.
No, it's not. You couldn't live off of that.
Of course you couldn't. Who can? But I got to tell you, if you got a master's degree and you're working a job for $24,000 a year, I'm thinking you might need to go get a refund.
What's her master's in, philosophy or arts? Not making fun of artists or philosophers, but, they generally don't make that much money.
I don't know. Maybe it's consulting.
Okay.
I don't know.
Political science, maybe. I don't know. Also, nice of you to reach out for comment before suggesting things on your show. Another Journalism 101 rule. Again, we are not professional journalists. We joke and say we're amateur journalists, but we're not really that. We're really pundits. Again, we report on political insider stuff and spin it.
Yeah, and I remember, something about, if I recall correctly, isn't she one of those people that deletes posts?
Yes. I have a deal for that somewhere. Let me see if I can dig that up. I'm going to switch screens. Let me dig around on my computer. I want to find something. But, yeah, we've got some documentation on that. Let's see. Yeah, do we want to go ahead and go to cut 9?
Well, we'll read that comment, and then we'll go to cut 9. Right there where my response to her.
Okay, so your response is, so you're saying no, even though I don't see a no to that question. I think
That was about whether she got any benefits.
right. I think the taxpayers would like a straight answer if you benefited from taxpayer dollars or not. If you did, I could see where you would think you got a good deal. I, on the other hand, don't think the taxpayers got such a good deal. Again, that's if AFS was doing stuff while being a legislative assistant on the clock. Curious, can you tell me what capital outlay requests have came out of House District 8's office in the last 2 years? That would be Raymond's office, right? I mean, if we got such a good deal, being a friend of hers and being a police jury person and at the courthouse before, you should know that. Oh, here we go. Classic. I'm not playing your games. I told you, Allie worked for me on nights and weekends, but I have a full-time job. Don't talk back to me, young man.
Yeah, so hang on just a second. So go to cut 9. And,
okay, hold on just a second. Let me get us over there. Let's see.
Now, there is actually a jaw-dropping moment in this text here in just a minute. In fact, a lot of y'all watching, you're going to be like, holy crap. I mean, you're going to be shocked.
All right, here comes cut 9. All right, so for a little bit of context, this was a post, well, crap. What was it concerning? It was something to do with the convenience store that they were going to put. I forget what the intersection was. Over there by Duckwater.
Duckwater Landing and Swan Lake, or the entrance to that subdivision.
So for context, folks, this was a Facebook exchange between Juliana, Jay Harrison, and Keith McGee, and I don't know, however many other people it was, whatever. Anyway, about that. And so, of course, the conversation devolved or evolved into politics and all that and whatever. But here's the quote from Juliana. I know it's probably hard to read in the red box right there, so I'll read it out. Juliana says to Jay Harrison, who I think he lives in that subdivision or whatever. Anyway, with your political experience, you should know putting myself out there, in quotes, like this, at best hurts me. Every political advisor advised against it. But that is what I committed to do, and I will do, even when it's difficult. I have no other reason to do this job than because I want better government. I thought it was world peace. I'm confused. But anyway, so putting herself out there, her political advisor and every political advisor advised her against being more transparent as a politician. That's exactly how you translate that, folks. I want y'all to think about that for a second.
And we are not transparent, liars, and spreaders of innuendo on a live show right here that we can't take back. We're talking right here, and we're doing this behind people's back. It's a mirage that there is 80 plus people watching right now. That's not real. We're actually, we're doing this incognito. This is fake news. This really isn't happening. You all are dreaming.
This is a private group. Y'all had to do the secret handshake and get a stamp on the back of your hand and all that before we would even consider letting you in here, even though we've repeatedly asked for you to tag and share and bring other folks in.
Now, during her police jury campaign, didn't we invite her on the show?
Yes,
we invited both the candidates on the show, and what candidate actually came on the show, if I remember correctly?
What was that nice lady's name? Mindy Wardlaw.
Yeah, Mindy Wardlaw came on.
And did a good job.
She didn't have anything to hide, but Juliana Parks, crickets.
Crickets. Wait. I can even play some crickets here. Hold on, listen.
Yeah, you got that.
Oh.
Maybe it was that good consulting she was getting, from the legislative assistant who wasn't doing anything on legislative assistant time, but we got to ask Rusty about that.
Yeah.
So, back to the text thread.
Yeah, let's go back over there. There we go. Okay. So let's see. Let me get over here. All right. But she's not playing your games.
No, she's not playing my game. So I guess at this time it's time to shift the burden off of her and get it on me. So,
well, she's diverting it to the PEC prior to her arrival, which is a whole other thing. She says right here, why didn't the PEC do anything for 3 years while you were on it? Well, you want to take that one or shall I?
Well, you may not realize that, first off, We had not been on it 3 years. We're
Right.
into the third year of this PEC term just now. We're
Mhm.
just now into it.
Right.
Though, as for the why and if why is the answer, go ahead, go from there, and because I know you hadn't been on the PEC since then, but you've heard me gripe.
Well, yeah, and the first and the easiest thing is y'all like didn't have a meeting for like 6 months or whatever it was. It was like crickets for that. I mean, I might be exaggerating just slightly, but y'all didn't have a meeting forever. Like I think you were elected, or the deal was in what, July or whatever it was of that year, and it was like, I don't know, what was it, December or something. Granted, COVID, but there are these things called virtual meetings.
Now, you see right there, she says, not once did you propose any action because all you care about is revenge. Now, Duke Lauer here, all I care about is revenge. I'm a liar. All I care about is revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm saying, and she says, are you saying the pay is $11 an hour for a 40-hour-a-week job in that position? She's trying to put words in my mouth. I never said it was right. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if a legislative assistant is being paid that, they should be paid more. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but what I am saying is if she was using the office, I don't care what amount it was. If she was using the office and on the office time working on campaigns for people on the taxpayer's dollar, I don't care if it was $1 or if it was $11, it ain't right. And if you're a politician and you benefited from that, you deserve whatever wrath comes your way. And I hope it comes heavy. Yeah,
It's the principle of it. Okay.
it's the principle. So, but before you go much further, scroll back up just a little bit. It said, where?
You talking about
Not
tanking the
once,
PAC? Oh,
not once did you propose any action.
action.
Okay, what
Mr.
I
Revenge
do,
over there.
Mr. Revenge. So let me point out something here. So I'm just wondering, there was somebody who was appointed to a seat on the PEC that they didn't live in. And
What?
I remember,
No way.
yeah, there was somebody, they didn't live in the district. There had actually been a couple of names. We even had one person show up to the meeting before, wanting to be appointed to that seat. Well, for whatever reason, they didn't come to the next meeting. Then somebody who didn't live in the district showed up at that meeting wanting to be appointed to that seat. And then that person that doesn't live in the district got appointed to that seat.
To the seat for the district, not an at-large seat, correct?
Correct. And you know who that was?
Well, let me guess. Miss, who you can't say her name, so I'll do it for you, Miss Juliana Parks.
It was Miss Juliana Parks.
Well, at least she's consistent.
But look, she's not in it for herself. I mean, it's us who are in it for herself, the liars and purveyors of innuendo. And people would say, well, why would she, and why would the people who helped to put her in that position, why would they, have done that or whatever? Well, she was basically articulating that, oh, hey, the state law says you can. Well, we had this big debate about it, and I argued about it because I didn't see it I didn't read it that way. I didn't read it at all. Now, granted, I'm no lawyer. I mean, I'm a Rhodes Scholar of Stupidville. I didn't read it that way, but I'm not going to just defer just to my judgment. I actually made a phone call to somebody in Baton Rouge, of the legal sorts, and they said absolutely no, that is not right. But I was asked not to push it, and there's a reason why I was asked not to push it. And for the benefit of the party, I didn't push it, but I argued it on the PEC. So for clarity purpose, the very next meeting, and I recorded the meeting, by the way, and we can play the recording. So both meetings. So the very next meeting, I tried to get the correct minutes, recorded. I made a motion to amend the minutes to reflect exact quotes that were made that I thought were pertinent. I didn't try to get the whole recording, just the exact quotes that were pertinent to the debate at hand. Guess what? Got shot down like a buzzard over a turd pond. And one of the people that argued and shot it down, was Juliana Parks.
Really,
arguing.
imagine that.
So guess what, Juliana? There's one thing that I proposed. You know, who came up, Juliana Parks, who came up with the idea and proposed having debates for the mayor's race and the council races for the citizens of Bossier? Who made that? Who brought that idea up? Who made that proposition?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
and not only that, who ended up having a city council debate?
Well, nobody did.
Well, I'm
We-
sorry.
no.
We ended up doing
That-
one for District
that
1.
Well, that was a different race, though.
It was a
That
different race,
not-
but the point
that was a
is,
different race.
it was a different race,
Yeah.
but the point is, has the PEC, I mean, when I was on the PEC, and it was during the Mike Johnson race, we actually did the state rep debate.
That's right.
That was before Juliana, in fairness, but what is the PEC actually doing these days? And she's on it.
Well,
She's as
hang
guilty.
on,
All right,
hang on. You're going off the rails here. We got to keep people in focus here. So,
all right.
so people would say, well, okay, well, you didn't have a mayor's debate and you didn't have a council debate during that election. Well, we had the ice storm, so we had to cancel it.
Well, okay,
But-
fair enough.
There's one more proposition. Now, Rex, there was another proposition that I brought up, and this one's going to hit home for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And read right there in that comment.
In your comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, she said, you should know you were
No,
there.
that's me. That's me.
Yeah, that's Duke talking to Juliana. He says, you should know you were there in a district supporting your crew. As I recall, I tried on a few things and was shut down by y'all. Perhaps you can give us an update on Robert Berry and the park now that you're in the seat you used the PEC for. Remember me proposing we do something about that? Guess you lost the memory of that one. So you proposed taking some kind of action, whatever, as a PEC about the Robert Berry and the Cypress District situation, and nothing
Correct.
happened. Was it more crickets?
Correct. And Juliana Parks argued against it, and taxman Doug Rimmer, one of her cohorts on the police jury, remember he famously made the quote and said, well, we didn't get a chance to vote on that because if I'd have got a chance to vote on it, I wouldn't have reappointed him.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
guess
Liar,
what?
liar, pants on fire.
We played the meeting and the audio where Rimmer made the motion.
Right.
Rimmer did it. To not accept his resignation.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But again, you and I, we're lying. And Doug Rimmer never said, hey, we've been robbing Peter to pay Paul and Paul's broke. I'll consider a gas tax increase.
23 cents.
I guess that audio is innuendo and a lie. I guess that's more of us,
Right.
Anyway, keep going.
Well, I got to give her credit because, she's brought up what all, I'm losing track now, religion, journalism, everything else. And now she brought up McDonald's.
She ain't going to hit on the Big Mac, is she?
That really upsets me because I like Big Macs. But anyway, let's see. Also, the position is assistant, meaning her job is to do what she is directed to do. Is she alluding to Raymond directed her to go run campaigns?
Well, what she's saying is the statute doesn't describe the position as a full-time job.
Okay.
It basically describes it as a part-time job, and is there a valid argument that maybe things need to be changed? Yeah, I think things need to be changed. I think, probably that money needs to be raised. I think also there needs to be, I think there's already laws about using, state resources, but I think you probably need to just ban legislative assistance from political activity. I think you need to do that, like the Hatch Act.
Well, it's like we've said on the show. It's not necessarily that any of that activity was illegal, or maybe not even against the ethics board rules and all that. But it just doesn't look good. All right. Anyway, so shall we read your quote, or are we gonna
Yeah, well, just apparently, I mean, she's pointing out that you got to have 7 votes to get anything done, and apparently, me knowing that I was in the minority, I had some role to do more because I didn't have enough votes to get it done. So she's saying you got to have 7. So I mean, what she wants her cake and eat it too. I mean,
Yeah, and I would like to point out right here. You said blah blah blah. The same team who was okay with electing a chairman who lied about his statements regarding a gas tax in the very first meeting. Now that's actually hilarious, hilariously sad.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, and I'm not going to play the video, but I've got it queued up because we played it 10,000 times. Oh, she did forgive you. Let's see. And now this is Juliana saying, and you stating my appointment was illegal when it followed the clear letter of the statute. But she forgave you. She gave you a chance. She didn't collude against you, and she voted in line with everything you proposed. Wait, didn't she just say you didn't propose anything?
That's what she said. I mean,
Now
but
I'm really confused.
I'm the liar and innuendo, and I gave examples of things I proposed, and clearly she opposed them.
So,
She
counselor, you've got to
so
clarify this for us. You can text Duke, whatever, but you got to clarify this for us because you just contradicted yourself. How can you vote in line with everything Duke proposed when he didn't propose anything a couple of paragraphs up from you? Which is it?
and I gave examples of things that she didn't go in line with me on. She did oppose me on them.
And that's actually okay, you know.
But I'm a liar. I mean, I'm all those things, you know. But
Oh wait, she's back to almost world peace though.
oh, but this here gets good because
Okay.
we've got to delineate right here the difference, you know, between folks because Rex, whether you realize it or not, there is a difference.
And
You know.
folks.
Yeah, in people, folks.
Oh yeah, there's a
You
lot
see it
of
right there.
difference.
So she says, do you ever think? And I don't know why she put quotes here. Maybe she's sending us something from Allie Smith or something. I
Well,
don't
if she's
know.
trying to be grammatically correct, she forgot to put a comma after think, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, so we're right
Yeah,
here. I'm
that's
going to
okay.
highlight in yellow.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if these people really, the people that we're harassing, you know, which are primarily all elected officials and
Right.
people who are trying to make money off the elected officials and control politics and things like that, while we do all this lie and innuendo about them. What if these people really are in it for the right reasons and I am driving them out of my constant harassment, leaving only the less desirable folks who really are in it for the wrong reasons to serve in elected positions? Is she saying that everybody who agrees with her are good people and everybody else that doesn't agree with her are less desirable folks?
I would like for her to clarify that, and I would like for her to clarify who those folks that are in it that are less desirable and in it for the wrong reasons.
Well, I think she's talking about the public, not her friends, because she goes on here in a minute and she talks about her friends. And I'm thinking she's talking about people, you know, I mean, innuendo here. I mean, I'm guessing, I'm trying to read in between here, but I think she's talking about the public.
Could be. Very well. Well, yeah, because she does say leaving only the less desirable folks who really are in it for the wrong reasons to serve in elected positions. So, yeah, you know, less desirable folks are the only ones that are going to run because all the people with their nose stuck up in the air are going to be harassed by you. That's
So.
one way to interpret it.
Yeah. So
All the good old boys are going to be harassed by you, and so they're going to get out of it, and there will only be us less desirable folks sitting out here, you know, common everyday folks.
yeah. So the surf. So you see my response right there, and you got to read it. So go
All
ahead.
right, so you say to her, I still believe your appointment was inappropriate and a violation of law. If I had my way, I would have contested it further, but unfortunately, to do so would have hurt the Republican Party, and I was asked to let it go, and I did. I forgave you as well. You are both so forgiving. Did y'all hug?
Yeah.
You know.
No.
As for your suggestion, well, that's right, it was COVID stuff. As for your suggestion of voting in line with everything I propose, let's not get carried away here. Perhaps there are a lot more people tired of people using offices to promote themselves and not what's in the best interest of the public. Again, how about the capital outlay requests out of House District 8? How many? And she says, read the statute. She doesn't answer any of the rest of it. I did, and so did some of the folks in Baton Rouge who agreed with me. Now, I can actually remove that black part, which is, folks, when you export out of iMessage, it automatically blacks out the pictures, but it's a weak use of blackout,
Yeah,
but they're not important.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
At the time that this was going on, somebody started texting me that Juliana Parks, while she was texting me, had made a post on her Facebook page and was talking about how she hated bullies and liars. And I did a quick screenshot of my triggered dialogue that was going on at the time to them. Well, I accidentally sent it on to her page right there. I thought it was funny, but I mean, anyway.
And I would like to point out, Charles Rawson has a good comment. Yeah, we the deplorables. Okay. So anyway, we're not blacking that out to black out anything that, Duke said in full transparency. All right. She says you are definitely using the office to promote yourself. So you're right. That does happen.
That was a good one. That was a good comeback by her. I'll give her credit on that one.
Yeah. And then y'all talk about the Facebook post exchange, and she says,
wonder who you were texting it to. Hopefully everyone. Well, here we go. Everyone, you got our text thread right here.
Yeah, she asked for it. So anyway, she says, good, because I don't talk about people in public behind their backs without reaching out to them personally. You should try it. It's good practice. And you say, of course, using the office, that's hilarious. Back to the capital outlay question. You're on the police jury. Oh, this is great. You're on the police jury. Surely you know, if the taxpayers got such a good deal, so many distractions. All right, hold on.
Now
I got to highlight this.
I know. This is where people need to shock and awe. You need to really pay attention close right here. This is where you got to pay attention close. So I'm back to the capital outlay question. She's on the police jury. Surely she would know. She is a police juror in House District 8. I mean, surely she can answer that question.
Yeah. But she says, we have our own budget and projects to worry about without monitoring the state. So you want to pressure me to answer questions that aren't related to my job? I don't think so. So is she saying that capital outlay projects are not part of her job? Am I reading that correctly?
I don't know. Look, I don't want to answer for everybody and put words in anybody's mouth, but y'all read that and y'all tell us, do you think she's saying that, that's not part of her job as a police juror, capital outlay projects in House District 8, which her district is in House District 8, that's not part of her job. That's not nothing that should concern her.
Which would be state roads and other improvements to the district and the area and, things that they submit bond applications for and that sort of thing. Those are capital outlay projects. And the way I'm reading this, again, Juliana, you're more than welcome to correct us on this because, we wouldn't want to just be doing the innuendo thing with your own words. Are you saying that as a police juryman or jury person, whatever's politically correct, that's not part of your job? Y'all have your own projects to worry about? Really? That's interesting.
I gotta tell you, I mean, I'm blown away that she doesn't know. So we keep going on here, and she says, trying to get me to say something negative about another elected official. Nope,
not gonna do it. All right.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, so she's never going to say anything negative about another elected official?
That's not going to work out well for her, but whatever, in her furthering her political career.
I mean,
All right. So, and you replied, so this is interesting. Curious, this is your comment or your text back to her. Comment, curious, did you ever return those donations from the entities and people developing Duckwater Landing prior to your voting to approve the gas station? There's a connection, and you know it. So are you telling me as a police jury member there are no capital outlay projects that the parish could have requested in House District 8? She responds, I didn't vote to approve the gas station. Get your facts straight.
Well, wait
She
a
said,
minute.
"Oh,
Stop.
yep, we got to pause right there."
So we don't skip way ahead here. So go to cut 10
Okay,
and play cut 10.
All right, give me just a second here. So let me get this out of the way, and let me do a little technical stuff here. Oh,
So
okay. So yeah, let me get to my video screen. Hold on here.
I'm getting my facts straight. I'm getting my facts straight.
Here we go.
I actually think I submitted something to you that that we were only going to be open to 10 p.m.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think that was in my letter of I think that was in my letter of intent to y'all.
Okay, Ms. Parks?
I'll make a motion to approve with the understanding that it's going to close at 10 p.m. and for it to be able to stay open past that there further approval will be required.
All right, cut it.
Well, hold
Going
on.
to close at 10. I'll make a motion to approve with the understanding. I'll make a motion.
I just want to keep listening to it.
it.
All right, good enough. Go back to the notes.
All right, hold
be able to stay
on.
open past that.
Let me see here.
So you just heard her. You just saw the text. She told me to get my facts straight.
Right. Yep. There we go. She didn't,
I
and
didn't-
more importantly, she didn't vote to. Now,
Did she
technically
ask-
that was just the motion. She could make the motion, but not vote to approve it.
Oh, but if you make the motion, you're telling me you're going to vote against your motion?
I've seen people do that before. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate. I'm trying to give her every benefit of the doubt so that we have our facts straight.
You know, you're right. I think I have done that in the past myself too. Now that I'm thinking about that, but I mean, but she's telling me to get my facts straight, and she's making the motion. Now she immediately, now look, get my facts straight. I'm a liar. Innuendo.
Fake news.
Fake news. We're just putting this out here. We're the bad guys. Elected officials, they're all the good guys. I mean, what was that? What was them terminology she used? Let me go back. We're less desirable folks. I'm proud to be considered
Cockroaches, cohorts, and less desirable folks. We have
There
to
you
change. We have to change our little mantra that we say now.
We've got to add it in there.
Yeah.
So she did come back and she says, correction, there was no legal basis to deny the first approval and we would have been sued.
For the alcohol sales, we have broader discretion, and I voted against the alcohol sales. Because she doesn't want all those less desirable folks around, the ones that buy and drink alcohol. Anyway.
Yeah, so interesting thing there on that.
David Jones.
I guess he wants to be on the show.
We're going to send you a formal invite, David.
Talk about crashing the show. So, boy, my notes. I done got screwed up here on this. So, no legal basis to deny, that first approval, right? Okay. So now they did go in and they approved alcohol sales, or high content alcohol. Now she did vote against that, and I think she even doesn't she? Yeah, she says that.
Well, she was pulling the Christian card earlier, so it sounds good to vote against a high alcohol content.
But it passed, and if you want to get cut 11 ginned up, it passed, and now that you got high alcohol content sales there at that convenience store that she didn't support but did support, and she's fallen victim to us lying about. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at here.
Yeah.
Who knew that How about this?
Pine Ridge Investments, we are glad to finally announce our second of 3 tenants. They've been working on rezoning for several months now, and today we can officially say that Sterling Spirits 2 will be coming to our Pine Ridge Plaza on Duckwater Landing and Swan Lake Road.
Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure that if you've got a convenience store with, high volume alcohol or high content alcohol now, if I were these cats, I'm scot free now, because I could make the argument that, you know what, if you don't give it to me, you gave that gas station, the green light.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just going to sue you.
Yeah.
And guess what? Here comes the old rubber stamp. We going Bossier Police Jury rubber stamp, because we might get sued.
Might get sued. That's always the deal. All right, so shall we move on down her comments a little bit? Let me make sure I'm staying in line with the notes.
Yeah, keep going, because I've been got out. We got to get back on this capital outlay though.
Yeah, we got to move through that. So anyway, how about you just leave my friends alone? Well, after she called it fake news, how about you just leave my friends alone until you have something real to come at them with, not just your hatred and unsupported speculation. I will answer questions from anyone in my district. They have my number. And again, you ask her about. You suggest without saying no that you didn't get the benefit of taxpayer dollars from the help of a legislative assistant. Won't answer the question about capital outlay projects, but you are out for yourself.
I am out for myself, and we are liars and purveyors of innuendo.
Well, we do. Look, in full disclosure, we do a lot of innuendo on purpose. It's called a marketing tactic to get people to tune in and be interested and listen, and to aggravate bureaucrats and some elected officials.
But see, that's what they're saying. They're saying that we're all about all the big bucks that we're making, that they're not making dollars. I mean, it's as if I'm a legislative assistant and got a master's degree and started a consulting business while I was using taxpayer dollars to fund my way of living. I mean, it's as if I worked for the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office and I derive my income from doing that. It's as if, should I keep going on? I don't get any of those.
Yeah.
But we're the ones that are propping ourselves up here.
Right.
We're the ones that are shedding all this light. We know that there's people do not like her, that do not like us talking about them. They hate our guts, what they hate more is the fact that we're telling y'all about what they're doing. They would rather, we're just troublemakers. They would rather us be quiet, you not know what's going on. They don't want you to know what's going on.
No, they don't. And here's the thing. Look, folks, and I've said this a lot since day one. You know that, of course, Duke was very involved and active and still is in politics. So was I. But I was one of the guys that was generally behind the scenes. And when we talk about that kind of stuff, we are not making this up. We're just bringing to light a lot of the things that get said. You imagine the old days with the, old overweight politicians smoking their cigars and laughing about things. But it kind of is that. It's just that they're not necessarily overweight and smoking cigars in some backroom bar. But that stuff does happen, and we've just chosen to bring some of this stuff to light. I want to bring up a comment here. Our good friend David Crockett says, in the 9 months since I have listened to you guys, no one has ever challenged what you guys say is verified. And that's a good point. At least they haven't come on publicly and challenged it. Nobody's called and said, hey, I'd like to come on the show and I'd like to challenge you on what you said. It's not happening.
Yeah. No, they haven't.
Nobody's called John Settle or called Channel 3 or called Channel 12 or called Robert and Aaron or whatever to challenge the stuff that we have shown on the show with proof. Now, some of it we do as speculation, and we don't speculate unless we're reasonably sure that there is truth to it. And sometimes it hasn't worked out. We have had to come back and correct ourselves a few times. Not much,
We
but a
have,
few.
and we've done that. Um, David Jones, I
I
take
take
great exception to the overweight and cigar comment. So,
well, I'm just saying, David, but anyway.
the comment that she made, that I'm just trying to get her to say a negative comment about another elected official. Nope. Do you know what that is, Rex?
Mm-mm.
That is
Educate us.
that is the definition of the Gob network.
Yeah, it is.
That is a great example of the Gob network.
Yeah.
I mean, unwilling to challenge another elected official, unwilling to say anything negative. I mean, that would explain a lot why she wouldn't touch the Cypress district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to upset the apple cart in the Good Old Boys network, of which she apparently seems to be a part of, or at least she seems to adhere to those principles based on her text messages. Not innuendo, based on what we just read that she demanded you put on our stupid show.
Our stupid show. So, we started the show and we said that, we may be gonna owe Krispy Kreme an apology.
Yes, we did say that. And while we're pondering and letting the folks watching ponder that, so look, we still got 80 people watching at 2 hours and 25 minutes. That is phenomenal. And we appreciate everybody watching. So, yeah, we did absolutely talk about possibly owing Raymond Cruz an apology.
But I don't know where you're going to go. Are you going to cut 7?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yes, sir. That is the exact one.
Yeah. So, the fact that we were trying to connect on the capital outlay thing, I mean, thankfully to her, I mean, it came to our attention that we may in fact be wrong with her, when she said, that trying to connect the two, in her text to me, trying to connect the two offices weak, she might have been actually right. And, and she was talking about, I don't think she knew that as a police juror, it's part of her job, on capital outlay.
Well,
and in fact, I think we might need to have a little bit of an education class here, Rex.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me adjust these screens a little bit and do all that fancy technical stuff real quick. So, folks, and I understand a lot of you are watching on mobile and you can't necessarily see this, so just bear with us because I'm going to clarify this a little bit. Okay, so anyway, all right, so I have showing on the screen, yeah, it is showing, the capital outlay process. And this is actually from, what was it, the Louisiana Department of Administration. Now, look, full disclosure, I am not the most knowledgeable guy on how the capital outlay process works, so I decided to kind of start digging into this a little bit. But, let me get this up where I can see it here. But let's talk about this for a second. So with this capital outlay process, I thought that apparently the capital outlay requests were supposed to go through either the local House rep or the local state senator, one of the two. And I kind of thought, well, it would be the House rep because the state rep because in this case Raymond Cruz for District 8 or Doty for District 9 because the House does most of the budgeting and appropriations type of stuff for the state. But apparently I was wrong in my thinking, and apparently somebody that called and wanted to explain how that works maybe didn't know as much as he thought he did. Now, again, I'm just going by this outline put out by the state. So it says that first in this upper left, let me see if I can put a pointer on that. In this upper left block up here, that the agency or entity submits the COR. All right, and so that will be the capital outlay request, and they submit that to the Office of Facility Planning and Control. So we're just moving along the flow chart here, and the Office of Facilitating Control moves into the Department of Administration and the Office of Planning and Control reviews the request. Then the Department of Administration formulates recommendations and sends it over to the governor's office for review. The governor's capital outlay bill is then introduced into the House. And so again, moving down the chart, the House Ways and Means Committee reviews the bond projects.
Bam. So that's where your legislators come in.
That's where the legislator comes in. You know, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the seventh step in the process? Now, I'm not saying that the legislator may not be aware of it at any point in here, and the legislator could, I assume, submit the request. You could go directly to them, but according to the state, this is the process. So, Raymond, I sincerely am apologizing to you because apparently it's not your fault that we've had what a lot of people have claimed are weak capital outlay requests for up here. Apparently, it's the police jury's fault.
Well, then, Rex, by that first little block, agency entity submits, who are they talking about? I can't imagine.
Well, it would be a government entity like, well, the police jury, or I don't know, maybe the Cypress District, or maybe even the city council, I guess.
Wait a minute, did you say police jury? Are you telling me what was that comment? That not my job?
Yeah, let's see if we can get back over to that. Let's see here. Where did she say that?
Unsupported speculation. Okay, unsupported. No.
Oh, here we go. We have our own budget and projects to worry about without monitoring the state. So you want to pressure me to answer questions that aren't related to my job? I don't think so. She ain't answering no questions about capital outlay.
Apparently I got to move into her district to get a question answered. I mean, I'm just apparently.
Yeah, apparently somewhere when they take the oath only to people in their district.
Now, do y'all think, are we reading this wrong? I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding something here.
Agency entity submits CR. And look, we already showed, let's see, who was that? Was it the city council that didn't submit some requests for reimbursements for the ice storm or whatever? And that caused a little bit of a kerfuffle with the city council. That was like, what was it, $500,000 or something?
Oh,
we talked about a few shows.
Fake news, Rex. We're just making stuff up to badmouth people.
We literally showed the email response from the state where the city was eligible for, again, I think it was $500,000, whatever the amount was in reimbursements, but they just didn't apply for it. So that's one example of an entity doing this. Another would be, the police jury itself.
But we're troublemakers in pointing out these inefficiencies and these problems, Rex. We're out to gain by doing this, and what we're doing in our show. We're doing it for ourselves. We're gaining friends.
All right, now I gotta put up some comments. So first, our good friend David Jones says, "Good luck on explaining this map of the Death Star." That is a great comment, David. That is just awesome. And Paul Johnson says, "If you believe that's how the capital outlay works, I got some swampland for you." We're just giving you guys the official published way that capital outlay projects are supposed to work according to the state. No innuendo. We're just showing the facts right now.
I mean, but that police jury person, that's not her job. I mean, maybe it's all the other police jurymen and not hers. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, like she was talking about, she's only one of how many folks on the police jury do we have? She's only one out of them.
You got to have 7. You got to if you ain't got 7, you might as well not even try. So maybe she's onto something there too. I don't know, but hey, I've got some more unsupported speculation, rumor mill, innuendo, Rex.
Uh-oh. Well, what would that be?
I was told that AFS Consulting no longer is a part of the Jeff Landry campaign.
Really?
Yeah, or whatever that campaign is called. That's what I've told. I don't know.
Well, was it his PAC that had or
I
whatever
don't
the entity
remember
was? Yeah, I can't. It
his
seems like it
name
was.
or was on there.
Yeah, it seems like it was his PAC, or maybe it was him directly. I don't remember. But
In my time wallowing in my sorrow for myself and trying to develop innuendo, I mean, it just happened to cross my radar that had happened.
interesting. Yeah, innuendo. That's the buzzword of the night for sure. All right, well, we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes. Again, still not our record. What else do we have to talk about tonight? So I did apologize. As I said I probably would, I did apologize to Raymond. Seems like, Raymond, you're much further down in the capital outlay loop. And maybe we need to have some folks come on here and clarify how that's how it works in theory according to that flow chart and according to the website. But maybe we need to have some folks on here that will actually explain how the process really works behind the scenes. Maybe that's what we need.
Well, hey, while we are still rolling, I sent you a link. We got a request. We don't do this too often, but this is this is an interesting case.
Right.
So
let me get that pulled up real quick. Give me just a second here. Yeah, we don't do this too much. Every once in a while. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me get this sized up in here the right way and all that kind of good stuff. So this is
well, Barry Butley Doty wouldn't be responsible the same as Raymond Cruz.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Rex.
All right. Yeah. So this was sent in to us. This is Wesley and Melanie Crawford home is destroyed. Now, full disclosure, I don't know these people, but looks like they've had a little bit of tragedy happen. And do you know any of the backstory on this?
I don't know them either as well, but they lost literally everything that they had, all their clothes, the whole 9 yards. It's GoFundMe page. They're from Dotson, which is close. I mean, there's tragedy always happening everywhere. I mean,
Right.
God, we're always getting inundated. I mean, we could do a whole show just hours on end of tragedies and things that are happening. But one of our viewers asked if we would share this out, and so we did.
Yeah, and it's Chris K that shared it out, and we certainly, if Chris shared it out and asked us to do this, then we know it's a trustworthy deal. He says down here he can attest to the validity of their needs as a coworker and friend of Wesley. So anyway.
Sounds like the guy. I mean, I'm reading in the notes here. He just now has recovered from double pneumonia and a lot of complications due to COVID, and she is, I guess, currently battling cancer. So anyway, if you feel it in your heart to reach out to these folks and try to help them, I mean, and
any amount helps. $10, $20, any amount helps. $5, whatever you feel might help these folks out.
So what do we got coming on the agenda now? We're going to go back to next Tuesday, right?
Yes. So, and let me explain, folks. There was a Bass Life Association meeting Tuesday night. As most of y'all know, I'm big into bass fishing and all that. They hadn't had their meeting, and it's their banquet and fundraiser and auction, their main fundraiser for the year, and they help with the wildlife and fisheries, with the fish hatchery at Cross Lake. They also have a bass replica program. So if you catch a big bass, over 8 pounds, they pay for, I forget what it is, I'm probably misquoting, but like 50%. If it's over 10, they pay like 75, maybe over 12, 100%. I probably have those numbers wrong. But anyway, and that helps promote folks releasing the big fish, big bass and all that. They've done several for the high school kids in the past. But anyway, so they weren't able to do their fundraiser. They weren't able to do their replica program and all that. And this is the first year they've had the banquet back, so I went to it. They were able to raise a pretty good bit of money, I think, and that went really well. So I was not here Tuesday night. So we opted to change to Thursday for this week. But you're right. We will be back Tuesday at 7 p.m. as normal next week.
And And we're going to get back on a schedule of Thursdays, and we're going to try to get you start with more frequency. Some guests from statewide elected officials, as well as elected officials, and we're going to start turning an eye to Shreveport and some of the Shreveport politics.
Yes.
We're going to stay on top of Bossier City. I mean, we got a council meeting Tuesday, I think, so we should have a gift out of that one. And Rex, I will tell you, there's some things cooking in Bossier City.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff going on, and you're right, on the state side, the Louisiana Watch side, there's more stuff that's going to be ginning up, and you're right, we got the mayor's race. It's getting more interesting by the day over there, so there's plenty of stuff cooking. We try to keep it separate. Where on Bossier Watch, we talk about mostly Bossier stuff. Obviously, Louisiana Watch is more regional or statewide or across the river, so we're going to pick that mantle back up and start running with it again. And shameless plug, if you're interested in fishing or hunting or the outdoors, go like and follow the Outdoor News. Just search for the Outdoor News in Facebook and like and follow, because I'm going to actually start doing some live shows, obviously very similar to what we're doing here with Bossier Watch, with fishing and hunting stuff. And you and I may get on there and talk about some of the duck hunting stuff and all that sort of good stuff, crawfish business, all that good stuff.
It's crawfish season too. We fixing to get the boat going and catching some crawfish and doing that thing. And love to talk about ducks. And hey, everybody watching, we appreciate on a Thursday night all y'all tuning in. It's a lot of material. It's not pleasant to hear, and we may even talk about a friend of yours. I mean,
yeah, we may do it. Let me squeeze in one more comment. Whoops, that came up awfully large. David Crockett says, Mayor speaks at Republican Women of Bossier next meeting. Do they let you record? David, in the past, now granted, I hadn't been to a Republican Women of Bossier meeting in forever, but in the past they would. I would say out of courtesy, because they're actually a private group. That's not technically a public meeting, although when they invite everybody, just ask them, make sure. Who's heading that? Miss Jane Smith, I think, is head of that. I think so. So just out of courtesy, probably ask, because again, they are not technically they're not an elected group or anything. It's actually a private group. So out of courtesy, I would probably ask them. I don't think they'll care. All right, Rex. Well, that was a long show, good show, and good night. And thanks everybody for watching. And I am not going to text till midnight again. It's not happening. I'm going to bed. Get some sleep tonight. All right. See y'all later, folks. Thanks for watching. We're out.